This is the Wrestling for Life Network. This is another live stream tonight. We are here for TNA Impact. There's a lot on tap tonight. We got an X Division title match. We got two first-round matches in the KO television title tournament. Moose is taking on AJ Francis. Yeah, that's a stacked card, so let's talk about it. Like I said, this is the Wrestling for Life Network. It is Thursday. TNA Impact is on tonight. A lot to talk about with the card, a lot to talk about with a certain release, a lot to talk about with Dark Side of the Ring. But I am not here alone. If you don't know who I am Anthony by Elegance, and that is Big Nick.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Wrestling for Life Network proudly brings to you its tag stream champions of the world. The man who puts the T in TNA, Ringsider Anthony, even got the fresh new under nameplate out there with Ants by Elegance and the TNA lettering and everything.
Yes.
But yes, I am Big Nick, and to pull back the curtain real quick, as soon as you did your whole intro and we played the video and everything, my YouTube TV started working again. So like I said before we went live, TNA keeps trying to get a dime out of me because I had to get TNA Plus membership so I could watch TNA tonight and everything because YouTube TV wasn't acting up. But TNA keeps squeezing dollars out of people, and they're still in the news.
Yeah, absolutely. I still got the YouTube TV stream up, so we can still try that when the show goes live.
We have every option out there to watch it, folks. Like I said, we got all the news, and too, like you even said, Dark Side of the Ring. I watched episodes 2 and 3 today. Lot to get into with that.
Yes, a lot to get into. So if anybody knows, Dark Side of the Ring did a 3-part Jeff Jarrett TNA special. 2 parts aired last week. The final part aired today is Thursday, so it aired Tuesday night. I was so eager to watch it and not wait until Wednesday that I decided to get a free subscription to a streaming service so I could get Vice to watch it since it's not a part of YouTube TV. But yes, we got a lot to talk about with Dark Side of the Ring.
See, what comes around is all around. I started us off talking about how I had to purchase a streaming service, and you got away with a free one out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like I've been away for a week or so I feel like there's a lot to talk about in the wrestling world. Do we want to acknowledge the chat first, or we want to just get into?
We got about 10 minutes. I think we need to say hi to the people and everything. Because again, you've been away, so they got to say hi. You got to reintroduce yourself and everything out there. You're so fresh and so clean now.
Right.
But, I mean, we do have the breaking news that kind of happened before we went live, but we can talk about that once we say hi to the peoples out there. Again, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We're always free. You don't got to pay for no subscription service, but you should hit subscribe. We're free. We don't cost you nothing. We're like, Anthony watching Dark Side out there.
Absolutely.
3 from last night. See, it's there. When I say things fast, it takes a minute. But top 3 from last night: Spaz, Damien, and Bash. And I don't know if we're going to have time to get into it, but I know definitely me and Cage are going to talk about Dynamite last night on Friday because, yeah, even Brian Alvarez is out there saying he hated the episode. So I think that, it wasn't a stellar night for Wednesday. But that's your top 3 in the chat. Make sure you get in the chat. The more you chat, the more you super chat, the more you super sticker. That gets you on top of the pops out there on the leaderboard. And again, we try and click on as many as we can. Trust me, we're scrambling. Either do we say hi to y'all or we go through the breaking news right now.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, we can definitely talk about, a little bit of Dynamite from last night once we, say hello to the people.
Right. You want to click away, sir. Click away. Swing away, Johnny. Swing away.
We'll start off with Zach, who was here at 8:19 this morning. Happy National Cherry Day, Big Nick and Anthony. What is up, Zach? Ken down here says happy TNA Day, and we got a stacked card tonight, so it should be a good episode. Ken says, hey, Dale. What's up, Ken? What's up, Ken? Welcome to the channel. Eric down here says, hey, 24 Life Buddies can't wait for tonight's show, and Saint and Sinner has been released from TNA. We will definitely talk about that. Damian Heater down here saying TNA has released Saint and Sinner. What up?
Everybody's already talking about it, so maybe we should kind of talk about it.
We should take a pause there and talk about that. I guess I'll be the first to kind of break it. I just found out like probably about an hour or so ago before stream. I guess this was breaking news earlier today. Um, it doesn't surprise me that they're gone. They haven't been used since I believe the Atlanta taping. So the tapings I was at in March. They hadn't been used since then. For me, the writing had been on the wall for them for a couple of weeks. I'm surprised it's been this long. I thought they would have been released maybe, with the rounds of Tessa Blanchard and Steve Macklin. But it doesn't surprise me. They were good talent. I don't know. They weren't used a lot, so I can't say if they really had a persona or a personality, but in ring, they were really good. And I feel like if they were used more properly, we could have seen a personality, we could have seen a persona, but at least I can say in ring, I thought they were pretty good.
Well, weren't they kind of linchpinned with EY out there? I think it was once EY was gone, it kind of made sense that they probably weren't too long after it. And again, you said they weren't used much. I was never respectfully kind of the biggest fan of. They just kind of felt very bland, very generic to me.
Yeah.
I know some people had kind of said that they could have been like the, young upstarts in the whole tag division and everything like that. If you're going to especially kind of rebuild that, like they're young enough talent that could still be something kind of focused on within TNA. But maybe they end up in NXT and end up there's kind of the rumors when we were here on Tuesday of Shiloh Hill was talking about the fog and all of that. And EY allegedly is going to show up in NXT as a player coach kind of vibe. So does he pair up with Shiloh Hill? Do Sinner and Saint end up over there? Do they just go MLP and kind of work that a little bit? Which that actually had its debut TV-ish episode on MyAEW.
Yeah, I feel like they go the MLP route. I haven't watched the first episode. I saw the match card. It looks pretty good. I am going to watch it tomorrow. So I'm excited about that. I do feel like they go the MLP route. I do agree with you. Like I wasn't like the biggest fan of Saint and Sinner, and like you said, they felt kind of bland, and that goes back to basically me saying they didn't really have a persona or a personality. I saw them being future tag team champions, right, in TNA, but I never saw them as being the face of the tag team division. Like right. I can see the Righteous being the face of the tag team division. I can see the Great Hands because they have a personality. Like to be.
Well, we got to talk about the hands and everything because we got Ali out here with his State of the Union and everything. So the hands might be getting cut off.
The hands might be getting cut off. Yes, absolutely. So, I do see them more in an MLP before I see them like in an NXT. But we'll see where they go. I will watch them because I do like them in ring, but they do have to work on having some type of character, some type of personality.
Right. And just to clarify, last thing before we say hi to more of the chat and everything, of like before it gets spun, everything that I saw was saying that they had asked for their release or were granted their release. It wasn't one of those of, they were fired or, they caused a fucking scene or anything. And it's been kind of that way with everything of it, whether it's been an actual firing or not. It's been, we mutually agreed on their release,
Yeah. And I don't think it's, I truly don't think it's a big loss to the division. Yes, we do need some more tag teams, but I don't feel like it's a big loss, and it doesn't bother me as much as like a Steve Macklin being gone.
Well, yeah, that's a bit of a jump right there. But Ronan, Cedric versus Fabian for the X Division title, no limits. Is it no limits?
Is the match type no limits, or are you just saying is the X Division no limits? Because I mean the tagline is
both be true. Both I think
I guess both could be true, right?
Right. But Sean Reed, I see you. TNA could be really good tonight. I have high hopes for it. Smash that like button. Absolutely. I see 32 people. I know TNA has been a little light in the boots out here. But let's see if we can keep growing with these numbers out here. I get that there's been this big changeover in TNA, but I really start to think that Trey Miguel is about to be back. Mustafa Ali just re-signed a new contract. They've re-signed a lot of the younger talent. Like I think Casey Navarro, Trey Miguel, Mustafa Ali are about to be really integral parts for this new TNA that's coming up.
Absolutely. And then I feel like the last two episodes of TNA were really good. Last week, the only thing I could have, and we talked about it in the group chat briefly, the only thing I could have had without was the Moose segment. You know, I did the Moose and AJ Francis segment. It wasn't bad. It was there. I'll just say it like that. But the
It's
matches,
long. It's very like Seth Rollins
yeah,
promo from 2 weeks ago.
yeah, it was a bit drug out, and I can agree there. But like the two knockouts matches for the tournament were great. The main event for the knockouts title was great. There was a three-way tag team match. I think it was the System,
Yes, that
Ricky,
was.
Leon, and Righteous. That was great. So the last 2 weeks have been great, and I feel like tonight is going to be good as well. I think people just need to stick around. Just stick around and stay away from the online chatter. That's the best way I can put it.
It's growing pains out here. Like
Exactly.
and I know we got to say hi to more of the people, but if we're going to use like the pillar term or whatever, like Nick Nemeth's going to be your guy that's about to make a lot of like a Ricky Sosa, to make a Casey Navarro, because that to me is going to be a title feud. Trey Miguel and Ali are going to probably run it back for the international title, and then maybe Ali goes after the world title. Like you're going to start to see a lot of these younger talents, these kind of back to when you had the Samoa Joes and the AJ Styles. And I'm not fully saying these guys and gals are that, but as close as back to that you can get and restart this. It's like the MCU restarting. We've got Doomsday and Secret Wars. Now we're going to restart the TNA MCU.
Right. And you still got guys like Elijah, you know, that could run for the TNA World Championship. And then, I mean, we'll briefly probably talk about that too as the show is about to begin. Like they're showing OVW on TNA Plus app this Sunday. That's assuming to me that they have, you know, came to an agreement, a deal with a potential developmental with OVW. So you may see those stars start showing up on TNA too.
Oh, I'd say that's official like a referee whistle, but Mega out there. The show's going on in Canada. We've talked about this, Mega. Yes, the tape shows started earlier in Canada. Yes. You have to pause or no spoilers. Either way.
Right.
Keith Lee. Oh, the Keith Lee story we can talk about at some point here. Ryan, I see
two stories coming out of that, but yes,
all
absolutely.
All the stories. If what I'm hearing about Keith Lee is true, I feel bad for Keith Lee. The Lantern, what up? What up, my guy? As I'm trying to rattle off names, as the show should be starting in a minute. Almighty Pop, what's up, guys? The air in NYC is terrible. Trust me, I live out in New Hampshire, and it's even still been sepia tone for the past 3 days. But hoping for a good TNA after a terrible, what's shaping up to be a terrible Ring of Honor show. Oh, really? Well, we can talk about that. Panda Pod. We
What's
got
up,
the Fedora pole match between Anton. Yes, we got the Chapeau show out here again. We looking spiffy.
I got
Xylee Lee.
Yes. And you're watching on YouTube, right?
Yes, because TNA just decided it wanted to extort me. It Jeff Sheridan me. It held me up for the last couple. It held me up for $9.99 right before it was about to go through the curtain, saying you better give me that subscription.
Right.
We won't hold you up for the $9.99, folks. We do it for free. We even the memberships as low as it can be. But make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe. We just passed 12K. Me and KJ still got to figure out where and how and when we're getting tattoos. And we already added 2K on top of that. So let's keep this party growing.
We're trying to grow here.
We're the little engine that could. We're the TNA channel out there. Literally and figuratively.
Exactly. Almighty Pop here says, by the way, I saw that Thea is competing for the new championship on TNA. How confident are you, if at all, that she comes away with it, and does she stay? Yes, so she is in the tournament. She faces Harley Hudson, I believe, tonight. I don't see her getting past Harley Hudson, to be honest, but I could be wrong because somebody put out some stats about Harley and she hasn't won a singles match in TNA just yet. So she may lose tonight.
Yeah, but this tournament seems like it's very TNA kind of based. Like even last week had Vicious Vicky and had the Know Me, Yeah, You Know Me out there.
Yes.
And both TNA talent went over. Like Indy and Jody went over, and those are two that I honestly may have not picked to win.
Right. I definitely didn't pick Jody to win. I thought Gabby was going to win, but they put on a great match. But you're right, this has been more TNA heavy. And which I'll touch on this very quickly as the show is starting, which
Right.
bothers me a little bit because like I've seen the TNA fandom say they don't want NXT stars to hold the WWE or the TNA titles, but they're okay with indie wrestlers holding the TNA titles. I'm a little confused because both.
Okay, I'm going to rattle off a lot more names, and then we're going to talk about that at some point when we
Okay.
get to a commercial, because I think that they could do a lot with the indie talents, and they should be signings and everything like
Okay.
that. And you and I have talked about like to where they could have had that moment to like where Gabby Forza, whose husband already works for the company, even if she wins and she advances and she loses in a later round and you lost, but hey, we loved your performance so much, we're offering you a TNA contract. And that's a big moment. This is one of those to where you could have a moment to where you could build a talent through the tournament that doesn't have to win.
Now that makes sense. If it was explained that way to me during the week, I would have been okay with it.
This is why you always be here.
Makes sense.
Because no one else is breaking it down for you like that.
Exactly. But briefly, as we were talking about the television title tournament, we do have the first round match with I was about to call her Maggie Lee, that is her name. But In by Elegance coming out, she will be facing, I believe it is Rosemary. So I'm excited about this with, obviously taking the Elegance brand here for the win.
The one who pieced you into the gang out there, the one who, you had to take the confade from to get into the gang out there. And
exactly.
First you as Ants by Elegance. So
right,
you got to ride or die.
Definitely got to take the Elegance brand here. But yes, I'm glad you explained it that way. That makes a lot more sense.
There you go. But Cherokee George, what up? Yeah, even Eastern Nebraska, I guess, is out there with the wildfires. KJ's just smoking too much loud up there. He's smoking that Tony Khan pack, just too loud.
I heard on the local news here that some of that smoke may travel down to Georgia's way, to the south. As far as the south. Yeah, we'll see.
Well, and then you've got stuff burning in California again of just the whole stuff. Yeah. The wrestling world and the fucking world is on fire at this point. Just shout out Billy Joel. We didn't start the fire. Philip, I see you as I'm getting Rosemary coming out right now.
Yes.
Z-Man, what up? Vance, hey, yo. Sam, not these guys again. Well, thanks, Sam, the leader of the Snack World Order out there. Vance, I see you again. Spaz, I know. We'll get to you in a minute. I just want to make sure I get through all the names out there, and then we'll get to your super chat, Sarah. Appreciate you. Alan, Destin, I see you. Geekbox, what up, my guys? So-called fans will just find reasons to moan and forget their own hypocrisy a week later. Oh, we can talk about even how journalists will forget their own hypocrisy and everything about that, too, about how, hey, remember how that Ludwig story was a planted story by WWE about the whole guys threatening to call ICE and everything like that. That was, according to a lot of these journalists, a planted story. And then Ludwig enters that into evidence in court, in court filings of that's his recollection of the events. So, yeah, where's all the retractions and where's all the oops, my bads right now?
Yeah, I didn't hear about this. This is news to me. I do know. I do know about the plant. Like that was brought out like a couple of weeks ago.
Journalists. That it was certain people. I'll say names. God damn it! Raj sat there and said that was the story going around after the initial story came out. As we are underway with the match, let us know, folks, who you got, whether you got Elegance or Rosemary.
And by Elegance all the way.
Rosemary, hey, what do you say? But then Fightful, Observer, etc. all said that their sources had told them that was a planted story by WWE to pretty much run a smokescreen on good PR. And then now Ludwig's actually entered that in as his recollection in the proceedings. The whole quotes out there now of everything from what was said to it seemed like the guy was getting more aggressive than anything. And again, there's two sides to every story, but to me, it's more of not even taking any side on this. This is not a planted story. If this is what this guy's entering into evidence in court,
Yeah.
legally, this is what this guy is putting on record, on legal record. That is not some story that, some PR intern at WWE told him to say.
Yeah. That's why you can't trust these so-called reporters. I've always said it here. Like, you got to do your own research. You got to, not, you know, uh, take everything that you see on social media as the truth.
Do your own
Just
research.
Yeah, just a couple of days ago, as we're watching here, the TNA was celebrating Moose 10 years with TNA,
yeah.
and Moose tweeted out, basically retweeted what TNA did and said, "Thank you, TNA," and everybody thought he was leaving. And it was like, did you not see that TNA has been celebrating Moose all day? Like,
yeah,
it's just like, don't believe everything you see. Do your own research.
That's the thing, though. That's why we're the most honest, or try to be the most honest out there, because we literally watch everything. Like, you and I have both seen, because we're out here watching TNA every week, that Moose had very much mentioned, it's 10 years with the company, yada yada yada. Like, we knew exactly what it was, but I did see a lot of people, and shout out to buddy Phil, that even you and then I didn't see that you did till I did, and everything have to explain of, no, he's been with the company. This man's the lifer. He's the goddamn Jericho of this company. He's got a 27 lifetime contract.
Exactly. And then from what I'm understanding, from, the longtime TNA watchers, he said after this contract was up, he was done wrestling. So, just don't believe everything you see on social media, because it's just not true.
Especially because that's like the 5%. Like,
yeah.
But
Impact Elegance really has really has control of this match right now. I love the Elegance brand, but I hope one day she really breaks out as a singles competitor, because she has it in the ring. And from what I've seen on social media, her feud with her tag team partner on the Indies has been really good with Heather by Elegance.
Better third member of a female faction right now, M by Elegance or Lainey Reed?
Lainey Reed is on NXT.
It'll influence SmackDown. Was on
NXT. Okay. I would have to go M by Elegance, and I'm not saying that as being biased, but I just feel like she is better in ring.
I feel like that ended up being a question more for the chat than for you, because you already got the name bias right there. It's like asking, Ken Jefferson, what's your favorite president? Samuel, I see you. Nick, the real wrestling guru. Well, we try us out here, but Rosemary got her caught up. Now, where do you see Rosemary? Because again, TNA seems to be very much keeping certain vets, but also vetting certain vets, letting them go. Where do you see Rosemary slotting in now in this kind of revamped TNA?
That's a good question, because honestly, when Gail Kim was let go, I thought Rosemary was going to follow. I really did. I thought Rosemary was going to follow. The rumors had Rosemary, potentially leaving TNA after Gail Kim was fired. And she has stuck around. I don't know if Rosemary may just feel comfortable being at TNA, where she doesn't want to go anywhere else. And if that's her choice, that's fine. I'm glad they're continuing to use her, and she's not kind of put in catering or anything. She is one half of the tag team champions, but the question now is if they can get other tag teams in there where we can actually have a division, and then we can see more of the Bunny and Rosemary and things of that sort.
Well, and not for nothing, and Spaz, I know we got to get back to your super chat. I swore I would, but having Rosemary still be there, not exactly the same name value ish of, say, a Nemeth, but with her vet status, and she's kind of been like the fundamental, you think, knockouts division right now, you think Rosemary, because she's been there the longest by far. So she stays there and kind of maybe even becomes a bit of that player's coach kind of vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. Rosemary's been there a very long time. I feel like she's on that Moose number of like 10 years, right?
Yeah.
She's close to that. So kudos to Rosemary for sticking around. I did like that Rosemary um uh I lost my train of thought. I did like Rosemary being in NXT and showing up last year. She showed up in
with Wendy
NXT
Choo Choo.
with Wendy Choo. So it was good to see her in a different environment. But I'm glad she's sticking around with TNA, and that TNA still sees something in her and still are using her.
Oh, for sure. And well, I've always been honestly kind of ride or die. Yeah,
You
Rosemary fan.
are, yes, you
But
are.
yeah,
That's
well, she's very much she's
100%.
yeah, she's very much out there with that. Like I still remember when she was out there smooched up with Bram. If anyone remembers Tom Lattimore Bram in TNA. Yeah, we go back that far.
I don't think I've gotten that far yet. With my
that was actually what made me really like Tom Latimer is when he was Bram. That was actually I really liked that whole gimmick.
Yeah.
Like I was a Relic dude. With TNA. You don't know. Were you not there yet when you had Judas Messias and Abyss? You had Relic, which was Killer spelt backwards. That was
I don't think I made it quite there yet.
Am I patching together? I'm bridging. This is why we do Thursdays because I'm bridging TNA history for you out here.
Yeah, I'm definitely not. I'm still in the Access
TV days.
I'm still in the Access TV era. I'm on the last year, but I don't know if I'm going to finish it because
you think you're ahead of where I'm talking about.
So that might be Pop TV.
Well, the later days of even Spike, I think.
Maybe. Okay, so I'm nowhere near that. Yeah, I'm nowhere near that. Oh shoot, Allie taking out Heather. Oh,
3.
Okay. M by Elegance advances.
Rolling rawhide.
Did she spit something in her face? I think she might have. Yeah, because Rosemary is kind of clutching her face.
Well, because you got Iceman out there.
Yes,
with his eyes all taped up.
With his eyes all covered up. So it was probably a get back from, it would definitely a get back. But the Elegance brand, so M and Heather have both advanced. I think M takes on Mara Sade. We don't know who Heather takes on just yet.
Can I know, well, here, we'll have a peace treaty here. Mm-hmm. You're an M by Elegance guy. I'll be in Heather by Elegance guy. I think she's got I know you like both, but I think she's got a lot of, to me, she's got the better potential.
No, that's perfectly fine because it's split. Honestly, it's split within the TNA fandom. A lot of people like M, a lot of people like Heather. More. So yeah, I can take that. We got middle ground there. We got middle ground.
Yes. But up next, we got Moose versus AJ. But we get to mutual ground out here with Spaz with a $10 super chat. The first MLP Mayhem was pretty sick. Very well done. Yeah, Spaz, you can be our resident MLP insider. You've been a little bit the AAA, but AAA has grown beyond that. But now you can be the MLP guy because it's out there midnight on Wednesdays. A little hard.
Yeah, midnight on Wednesdays. I'm excited to watch it though. I do have the My AEW, what is the app? I do have that. So
okay, because me and KJ have both not had it because when it first came out, it wasn't really that available with, or doesn't seem to work that well with the US or anything. So honest review. Yeah,
it doesn't work that well with the US. So you don't get like pay-per-views or anything like that unless you turn on the VPN and purchase the pay-per-views and stuff like that. But here in the US, and I think KJ has access in Canada. I think he has the access to get all that other stuff. I'm not entirely sure. But here in the US, all you get is like a live TV channel of them showing replays of Dynamite and pay-per-views and stuff like that. But then you also get, I think you get some of the indie shows that they've been adding to My AEW, and then you get MLP as well. You don't have to pay a subscription. Here in the United States, I don't think there is a subscription for My AEW, so you can just sign up and watch MLP for free. So
okay. So
yes.
I know people had asked if we would add it to the repertoire, but that might be at least a way that we can access it. I don't think right now, we got these things called jobs and everything on top of this too. So
Yes.
I don't know if midnight on a Wednesday is an accessible time for too many of us. But
after you sit through, 2.5 hours of Dynamite.
yeah, just keep the party going out there. But
right.
It's still, at least now, that's a way that's a thing that a lot of people even talked about as we are in commercial break, that my AEW could be kind of a new Triller.
Yeah, it seems like my AEW is going in that way of being a new Triller, with a lot of the indie promotions showing up on there. It seems like TNA may be on that trajectory too, with OVW and them showing their first pay-per-view. Well, not first pay-per-view, but TNA Plus is showing a pay-per-view for OVW on Sunday, which I'll be watching. But yeah, it seems like we might have some options out here for more wrestling, which I like.
Oh, absolutely. One, again, how many people have really out there and confirmed, maybe we're breaking it now, that, OVW's official like a referee whistle with TNA.
Yeah, absolutely. TNA put out a tweet earlier today on their socials and basically said TNA Plus will be showing OVW. I believe it's free. You don't even have to have a subscription. We'll be showing OVW.
That's good.
We'll be showing OVW this coming Sunday, so I'm kind of excited about that, especially if we do have this partnership with them. We get to see some of the talent, right? And then OVW has their weekly shows, I think on Thursdays too, at 7 on YouTube. So there's just a whole lot of wrestling out there that we can consume.
Right. Pause. But we are covering it all as much as we literally physically can, right, folks. That's why we keep trying to grow. The more we grow, the more wrestling we'll end up covering. Trust me. We're gluttons for punishment out here. We're just give me more. But getting back to Spazzes, because I know we started it and had us in the first half. Very well done. We get Morrison versus TJP next week as well. What's good, Large Nico and 1 a week Tony. Also, cereal is breakfast soup. # Deep Phoenix Thoughts. That's been his gimmick now. But also, it's not if you don't put milk in your cereal, because I'm one of those psychopaths that I eat dry cereal and will have a glass of milk.
I have no words.
You don't? you milk and cereal? You say
milk and cereal together. Oh. Together. Oh, there goes Alicia Edwards, Nick's favorite person in the world.
Things that I don't mix together. Alicia Edwards in wrestling are things that don't mix together, just like I don't mix milk and cereal together.
Do you want to know something?
I will drink them and I will eat them, and they stay in their same cylindrical containers.
Do you want to know something?
I do the same. There you go. See, I don't know if that makes me feel better or worse, Sam, respectfully. Look. Frankie, what up? But how you know? Oh, no, you're going to trigger me. I love Andrade. I love MJF, but they're going to ruin both of them. Oh, redemption. I need redemption from last night and that goddamn pay-per-view.
Yeah, speaking of Dynamite, and briefly I'll touch on that. Bear Bronson is cutting a promo tonight. He faces Ricky Sosa in singles action after Ricky Sosa pinned him last week in that tag team match. But I don't know what Dynamite was last night. I don't know what I was, to be honest, Nick. I don't know what Dynamite was.
It was a lot of talking and a lot of nothing. It was a lot of something. It was a lot of word salad. It was a lot of, hey, we're going to do the pay-per-view broken up against these next couple weeks, and we're going to put the TV episode as the pay-per-view. And we're not going to get MJF, allegedly, I assume, at Redemption at this point. We're going to get Andrade for the national title, but he's also got MJF's ring. So that tells me we're going to do fucking Andrade versus MJF for the goddamn ring at All In. So he could have been there, but he's not going to. But I got emotions, expressions, and incantations out here on my screen right now in a neck brace.
I don't even know. I mean, I should know this because it was last night. If I don't know this, my memory is bad. I don't think I finished Dynamite. I think I turned it off at about 9:30. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I don't remember what I went to go watch. I might have went to sleep. I know I was heavily watching anything Jeff Jarrett yesterday during work and after. But yeah, Dynamite just wasn't it yesterday. And I'm really like, with me and you, like, I know, and I'm not saying KJ is like a AEW hater. I don't feel like that. I said I'm not. I said I'm not saying that, but I know with me and you, with AEW, we're a little bit more. We try to be a little bit more optimistic.
Well, I've been called Nico the Sicko. Let's be honest. I've been called Nico the Sicko.
Exactly. So it's just like last night, I was really trying to give it a chance, and I now remember what I did go watch. I went to go watch Big Brother, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it at all.
Fair enough. Well, Jason out there is saying Anthony's facial expression is KJ's from last night. I've now been booted. I've been kicked out of the Snack World Order already. I'm the X-Pac, the 6. I've been in and out the NWO quicker than a hiccup. Nicholas Action out there on Twitch. Again, folks, we do have the Twitch. We're ever so close to like partner. I think at this point, the last thing is like we just need people to actually just watch a full stream on Twitch, like all together, of having the like congruent viewers is the last little like tick off we kind of need. And then we're like partners on both platforms. So let's see if we can make that thing pop off.
Yes, let's see if we can make that happen. I didn't know we were that close.
Well, the Twitch things are interesting. It's funny on all the different platforms. You got different hoops you got to jump through and everything.
Right.
Like but we're trying to be gymnasts out here.
Exactly.
Dusty should have called Cody Jack. That way we all could have said it. Hey, W, call this. Hit the rose, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Oh. Now.
Yes. We got the big matchup. Oh.
Brings this up, but first let us know, folks, whether you got Moose or AJ. But does AJ need a hype man? You mean the trash-talking rapper needs a mouthpiece? I can understand yeah, all of that. Like, be a Flavor Flav, but he's like the mouthpiece.
Ooh. Uppercut. But yeah, I was kind of shocked about that because I feel like AJ Francis is not bad on the mic as well. I really thought Francis' expressions were just going to be there for SummerSlam, but it looks like he's Slammiversary, but it seems like he's sticking around. Maybe this could help elevate, AJ Francis even more, to be honest, if he had a mouthpiece. So I do definitely want to give this a chance to see where it goes, but I think we both agree that, like, AJ Francis needs to be world champion.
Well, can I pitch you a way that I would actually do better for AJ Francis, and we don't need emotions, expressions?
Yeah, sure.
He's the heavy for Nick Nemeth. Are you over the Nemesis? Are you over Ryan? I think I'm over Ryan.
I'm over Ryan. I would never be over Nick Nemeth, but I'm over Ryan.
Right. AJ he's the heavy. And he's the guy that can actually be out there, and he's got a history and a beef with KC. So if you want to still do that, I think they're building at some point to KC's going to beat Nick for the world title.
Oh, that was a nice pop-up powerbomb by AJ Francis. But no, I like that. I like that a lot, actually. So you're saying, just to clarify, because my mind is a little scattered tonight, AJ Francis basically being the mouthpiece for Nick Nemeth.
The mouthpiece, or he's the Kevin Nash, he's the Big Daddy Cool to HBK Nemeth.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can get with that. I definitely can get with that.
It's better than fucking Ryan.
I think anything is better. Pair Tasha Steelz up with Nick Nemeth, and it'll be 100% better.
Hey, she might be out there looking for some management jobs and everything. Which, if you are, Tasha, let us know your rate. We'll let's go.
Exactly,
is a fucking star.
Oh, Moose has a hold of expressions.
Oh, I got a boot from AJ on the Moose.
Ooh, yep.
Frankie.
And ooh.
Jason, what up? Miss you too. Well, I took one night off. I wasn't here on Wednesday because MJF wasn't champ. And I still look.
So
I wasn't here. Look at what the show was. MJF. Look at the world that is now. As MJF's not your champion versus Kenny's your champion. We didn't know how good we had it.
Right, you had to take a Wednesday off because MJF lost the title. He lost the title last week, right? Last Wednesday. Yeah, you had to take a week off because of that. You were in morning.
Yeah, no, you can call me back when he's champing everything. You done mess this up right now. I'm in protest. I'll watch it, but I won't be here for it because I'm gonna not get into that mess on me.
No. We don't need a crash out, Nick. We don't need a crash out, Nick.
Yeah, I'm saying my cardiologist recommended that I don't watch any more live AEW Dynamites. Watching it bits and pieces.
Affect your health.
Yeah, exactly. That should be the fucking intro. The last thing after AEW Dynamite may be hazardous to your health.
Exactly. May take years off your life.
Of your life.
Ooh, a nasty headbutt by Moose.
Oh, big forearm. See, I like this because it's two defensive linemen going at it.
Exactly.
You tried to do that. You kind of did that.
Oh, shoot.
Did I get ahead of you? He tried to hit the spear out of midair. He kind of got it, but Moose is a tall motherfucker, so it was hard to do.
Kind of got it. It worked.
Kind of got it, but you didn't hit it. You tried to be Braun Breaker, but you broke something.
You broke something. Yeah, absolutely. Crowd is into this though, and I think you are a smidge ahead of me, just like a smidge.
I will quickly dap if you got Moose. Let me know when you got Moose hits AJ in the back.
Okay, I'm there.
All right. Punches into the corner.
Punch into the face. AJ at the top. He's on the top turnbuckle. Okay,
This is something that could work. Of you got Moose, who's a former world champion. You've got AJ, who you've talked about. You kind of feel should be a world champion at some point. Even if this was for a mid-card title or something, or is just kind of a feud to get to being towards the world title. I think this works.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think this works a lot. And what are they about to do? Is this about to be a super? Ooh.
1, 2, out.
I knew this was going to be good. I had no doubt this wasn't going to be good at all. This has been good.
It's like Suge Knight, Nick. No, that's Solo Sikoa. Suge Solo. I only saw the main event match, Anthony, on AEW last night.
I heard that was okay. That was the 3-way tag team match, right? Or it was the 3 women on each side. I'm blanking out.
Oh, the 6-woman tag match.
Yes, 6-woman tag match. I can't put a name to it.
Frankie's getting his popcorn now. Now, how do you feel about Frankie's back to heel Frank?
As long as he stays away from the world title picture, I'll be okay. Oh, Frankie Kazarian pulls out Moose. That has to be
the post.
Yeah. Is he calling the match?
He's stopping DQ.
Yeah, he just called for the bell.
Okay.
Yeah. The bell was light, though. You couldn't hear it. But the bell was like really, really light. But yeah, he called for the bell.
Fair enough. There we go.
Man, that was a really good match to end like that. But that means we get a follow-up, I hope.
Oh, yeah. Well, it would have been interesting. And would it have you would have had to have, say, Moose win clean, because this is still the Albany tapings. So he came out just probably in the same show. Or at least the night before with the Syracuse jacket on and everything. And cut the promo. So you got a heavy Moose favorite crowd.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, so Moose would have had to win clean. What do you see? Do you see this? Because you got Frankie Kazarian involved. We're about roughly a month and a half away from lockdown. Do you see a triple threat with these 3 guys at lockdown potentially?
Do we get I have a double duty, not a triple threat out here, but Elena Black on my screen. do you ever do the team of an actual lethal lockdown match again? Could we get something like that built too? And here's the thing that honestly I think is slept on with TNA. They actually do the fucking pay-per-view posters right. They actually go back and do themed pay-per-view posters and everything. Remember when it used to be cool to collect pay-per-view posters and shit like that? Movie posters and shit like that. Not everything some goddamn Minnesota AI graphic with a Viking helmet.
I'm pretty sure you're talking about the recent poster with the hand on the cage. 100%. I was like, this is so good. This is so good.
But that's the thing is, remember, every wrestling promotion used to do shit like that.
Yeah.
And now they don't.
They don't. And TNA still does.
And well, now that they're bringing it back because they kind of weren't for a minute, and now with adding Lockdown, with adding Destination X, going back to, could we see the 6-sided ring come back?
I was hoping for Lockdown. I really was, because the 6 sides of steel. Let's take a pause right here.
It just rolls off the tongue pretty well.
Yes, it rolls off the tongue. I hope we're going on commercial. It looks like we're going on commercial after, because we're talking about the 6-sided ring. We're talking about the 6 sides of steel. Can I say that Eric Bischoff is the biggest douche in the world?
Yeah,
because like, you come into a company that you don't know, and you get on Dark Side of the Ring and say they were doing nothing with the 6-sided ring. If you have a 6-sided ring, do something special with it. It was called the Ultimate X Match. It was called 6 Sides of Steel. I mean, what are you talking about, Eric Bischoff? Okay, I got that off my chest.
I'm so glad you brought this up because I had the same thought, and when I heard it and everything, but yeah, real quick, Eric, all that, Joel, everything, but it's so funny. It was nothing but word salad. Maddie, what up? It was nothing but word salad from Total No Action. Brian, not at all. It was nothing but word salad from Eric Bischoff out there, with even beyond the whole, Ultimate X, the 6 sides of steel and everything like you brought up, which isn't wrong. Of so many wrestlers, AJ Styles has been on record multiple times talking about working in the 6-sided ring and everything. Even Awesome Kong, who looked phenomenal, by the way, during that Dark Side of the Ring.
Yes.
He came out as one of the stars. Her and Karen Jarrett were 2 of the biggest stars that came out of that.
Yes.
Made me appreciate Karen Jarrett in a whole new light, really opened my eyes to a lot of that side of everything. But the 6 sides of the ring, it shortens everything. That's why it made it special, especially with the X Division, etc., just in regular matches, because by the time you're hitting one rope, you're almost hitting the other rope. So you're constantly in this high-paced. It was fucking pinball the whole time and everything. You had to be a bit safer when you were hitting suplexes because you don't have as much room or anything like that. But you had so much to where you're constantly bouncing off of something. You kept the action focused towards the middle. That's why that whole, if you're not doing something with it, what are you doing, is such a ludicrous fucking statement, because
exactly.
And it's been the theme on the goddamn channel of the wrestling ring is your stage. And the 6 sides, the 6-sided ring just made their stage a bit smaller and put the spotlight directly on the center of it.
Yeah, and and I'm thinking, like, I'm sitting here thinking of big moments, and I might have the wrestler wrong, so please correct me in the chat, Nick. But there was a 6 sides of steel match, 2004, 2005, and I want to say it was Monty Brown who walked the 6 sides of the cage at the top and then hit a splash.
Eli Skipper, the greatest moment in TNA history, where this man sits there and hits the Hurricane Rana off the top of the 6 sides of the cage.
And you want to sit there and tell me you're not using the ring? Please, Eric Bischoff.
But that's the thing, is it was very clear and it was very obvious that him and Hogan had no idea about the actual TNA product, was viewing this as nothing more of a way of a vanity project to an extent. They still thought that Hogan still had as much sway as he did in the 80s, as he did in the early 2000s, which, sorry, was not the case. They went back to the old WCW trope of challenge him on a Monday. It was just really cool. And again, everybody, it wasn't supposed to be a complete retelling of the TNA history.
No.
It was also a Jeff Jarrett story as well, and his connection and his reason for starting TNA. So that was really cool to see too as well. But it very much, you could see at a certain point there was one giant shift, and it was when Jeff and Karen were together. And that's what pretty much changed the timelines of till we went from what TNA was to what TNA is.
Absolutely. I just I don't know what that was. I don't want to talk over this segment that's about to happen with Mustafa Ali, but I do want to talk more about Dark Side of the Ring, because Eric Bischoff really grinding my gears.
There you go. But Maddie, what up?
I don't think in a million years you would ever hear me say that. A lot of the stuff Vince Russo said in that documentary, I kind of agreed with.
Did we just become best friends somehow? Even though this man has me blocked, I actually, and Vince, we've talked, Vince. We can talk again, Vince.
Yes.
But I was surprised that I actually agreed with a chunk of what he said. There was very much stuff that was completely wrong, and I get why things were the way they were, but there was actually some honest to God truth that I actually believe from Vince Russo out of there.
Absolutely. I agree with you. But we do have the order for, we got the state of the, the state of the order address the same night that our president is speaking too, at this very exact moment, I think. So we got two states.
So we know who to pay attention to, who to listen to. We need to be
listening to Mustafa Ali.
Our true chief out here. It would have been actually cool if Roman ever did, like, as like the tribal chief, and you had like an Ali as, say, like the chief of staff or something like it. When Apollo Crews was doing something with him, and a bit of, I thought that would have been where you could have done something of tie-in of he's got, this whole United Nations with him. I'm taking over everything.
Yeah,
we're getting political as a motherfucker out here.
Exactly. So Mustafa Ali says he's not mad, he's just disappointed.
Which hurts worse.
Yeah, a lot worse.
I think a AAA should bring back the 6. They did it at one point. I think CMLL did it at one point. Mexico borrowed it heavy. But it was something that made them stand out. Like, you saw a lot of people on Dark Side that were actually like for it. The crowd was for it.
So
heads out of your asses.
Yeah, he said order 4 needs someone else, order 4 needs someone new to get, your head out of your asses. So who's coming out?
Blade.
The newest member of Order 4.
Be a new signing? This is going to be interesting because, again,
Secretary of Strategic. Oh, so they took Mila Moore and put her in the Order 4.
Are we just doing rhymes?
Didn't catch that. Didn't catch that, but absolutely. Rhymes? But wow, that's all I have to say with how Mila Moore looks. Wow.
No, have you seen what was it? Miss Brooks out there with Robert Roode. This is
exactly that. This is exactly that.
See, you're not the only TNA
looks just like Tasha Steelz does not look happy.
Yeah. This is why does this scream Russo though? Because I bet you they're gonna do like some stupid fucking affair angle or something. No, it's just because it's something we just watched the Dark Side of the Ring, and sometimes TNA beat TNA, and this screams TNA beat TNA, and
Well, I'm glad because I was concerned after.
Are you wearing underwear?
I'm not sure.
No. I should have said that. Moving on.
I am glad that they are using Mila more because she was with Tessa Blanchard and Victoria Crawford. Tessa is gone, so they moved her to the Order 4. So that's promising that they want to keep her around.
Yeah. Would you say she got a job enhancement? I'm very interested to see where this is going. Like, I don't know where this TNA doesn't have a good track record with kind of like this. And I love Tasha Steelz with all of this though. And maybe this is where Tasha breaks off.
I was just about to say this could be where Tasha breaks off and we actually get her back in the Knockouts title picture. So maybe
we want her Hogan.
Ken says you have to give Mila some yum-yums. I don't know how to do that on the. There you go.
One of those with this. She is very much. If Miss Brooks met Stacy Keibler,
you literally could do a side-by-side picture of them because it's like night and day. Not night and day, but it's like exact.
She's just the taller version. She's the evolved form.
Exactly.
Spaz with $10. So with Corbin returning and Cass advertised who's under the Danhausen sheet, pause, is wide open now, double pause. Also, Tony, do we see Santana showing up at tonight's main event in NYC at MSG? He said 7:15 when he would be free, and I hadn't even put that together till right now.
Yeah, I'll touch on that in just a second, but Mustafa Ali said something about every member of the roster next week gets to vote who will be the number one contender to his international title.
So we're doing ballots. We're ballot stuff.
Weird, but I'm interested. But to go back to Spaz's comment, I don't want to think I just dissed him. But yes, I have a feeling that Mike Santana could be showing up at Saturday Night Main Event. My thing is, I just hope WWE actually uses Mike Santana. I don't know if you've seen the things going around about Jordynne Grace this week, but Jordynne Grace has been the hot topic of conversation throughout this week.
Well, here I'll do you twofold here if you'll allow me here and everything. I hadn't even thought about of Mike Santana showing up at MSG until it all clicked right there, because he did mention 7:15 in that, where everybody thought it was going to be Wednesday and all that. And
I don't know why people thought he was going back to AEW. I don't know.
Some sickos want what the sickos want, but it'll be interesting to see how they incorporate him to it. But I'm going to step away for a minute and I'll let you have your moment on the floor to just vent your frustrations to the TKO Corps about what they've done to your girl, Jordynne Grace.
Yeah, I definitely can take the floor here. We are on a commercial, or we're showing the injury report. Lei Ying Lee is out for the time being, and then we do have the X Division Championship match, but I don't know. Okay, they said breaking news, but it's about Nick Nimitz, so it's not really breaking news. Anyway, anybody seen the stuff about Jordynne Grace? Apparently Creative doesn't have any plans for Jordynne Grace. And then she was injured for a time being. It wasn't very long from my understanding, and then she came back, and she's just been regulated to Main Event, which I didn't even know Main Event was a thing until I saw a graphic of her on Main Event. And I went to YouTube and I watched the match, and I can't remember who she faced, and I don't want to butcher the name, but I think it was Kiana James, which was a really solid match. But I think I think I hate using the term fumbled, but it seems like they have fumbled a bit of Jordan Grace. Jordan Grace came in hot, from her TNA run, um, being Knockouts champion, feuding with Tessa Blanchard, holding that Knockouts championship for 8-ish months, maybe a little bit less. But I do feel like, in a way, TKO doesn't have anything for Jordan Grace, and I don't know whose fault it is. To be honest, I know Jordan Grace in ring, she delivers. That's definitely um something you can say. In ring, Jordan Grace delivers. Promo wise, she may not be the best promo compared to a lot of the other women in the division. That is why, to me, she stood out in TNA, because she was one of the better promos in TNA when you don't have a as stacked women's division as WWE, right? I feel for her. I know when I was on, when we were on the channel last year and she was leaving TNA, I was very strong of like saying, I kind of want her to stay with TNA or go somewhere that she's going to be used. And her feud with Blake Monroe in NXT wasn't that great. I just don't know what you do with Jordan Grace. I hate that she's not being used on like SmackDown and Raw and things of that sort. And you're exactly right, Samuel. Nobody watches Main Event. I only watched that match for Main Event. I didn't go and watch anything else. I saw Jordan Grace was wrestling, and I was like, yeah, let me go see Jordan Grace wrestle on Main Event against Kiana James, and I thought it was a good match. You're right, and this was before I even seen your comment, Sophisticated. But hate to say it, the Blake Monroe thing kind of killed Grace. I agree. I definitely agree. She that feud wasn't it at all. It just and I don't want to say like Jordan Grace lacks. I'm just gonna say, like, Jordan Grace does lack a persona, right? But it works. It worked in TNA because she was the top dog. She was the main event. She was top girl, right? It worked for TNA, and that was what I was afraid of with her leaving TNA and going to WWE. There's a lot of women in WWE that have that charisma, right? You have a Rhea Ripley, you have a Bianca Belair, you have an Alexa Bliss, you have a Charlotte Flair, you have an Io Sky, right? That can technically do both, right? They got charisma, they got in-ring ability. And that's one thing Jordan Grace potentially doesn't have, is that charisma, is that character, is that persona. But she didn't need that in TNA because she was, again, top girl, top dog for the Knockouts division. But that also goes to point to blame on WWE. That goes to show that WWE is lacking with making these wrestlers have characters, right? I think sometimes WWE struggles with finding a character for a certain individual, right? Another thing that I fear with Mike Santana. Mike Santana is very, very good in the ring. Mike Santana brings a lot of heart in his character, right? But I do believe Mike Santana's heart is just an extension of himself, and he doesn't really have a big character. If you guys kind of catch what I'm saying here, I think he'll work well in NXT. Obviously, we've seen him in NXT. The NXT crowd loves him, but but does that translate to the main roster, right? Joe Hendry has a character. He likes to sing. He likes to, he has like a comedic gimmick. It works on the main roster, but I don't know. I fear for Mike Santana. Obviously, I have a lot of fear for Jordan Grace. But yeah, I agree. Putting Paul Heyman, with Jordan Grace. One of the things I talked to, and I think he's here now. I talked to Boston about a couple of months ago is them repackaging Jordan Grace and using Naomi, to repackage Jordan Grace for Jordan Grace to find herself. If anybody knows Naomi's story from TNA, as the system comes out, Bear Bronson will be taking on Ricky Sosa. I'm excited for this match, and I'm just rambling. But if anybody knows the story of Naomi Trinity in TNA and Impact Wrestling, she said that Jordan Grace helped her find who she was in TNA wrestling and in wrestling as a whole, right? And I was saying we pitch a story where Jordan Grace has just lost herself, and Trinity or Naomi brings back, to memory what Jordan Grace did for her in TNA. And it gets to a point where there's like weekly vignettes of Naomi just pushing Jordan Grace until finally we get to like that last vignette, that last promo package where Naomi says, now I need the same Jordan Grace that beat me for the title. I need that Jordan Grace. I need that aggressive Jordan Grace. I need that hungry Jordan Grace. Something to that effect. But there has to be some work to be done there. And I do hope WWE finds something to do with Jordan Grace, to be honest. I don't know where we go from here, but that's my thoughts about Jordan Grace. As Ricky Sosa comes out, he will be facing Bear Bronson. I will go through the chat just a little bit more as Big Nick is returning. But
yeah, did you just make Naomi John Moxley?
I don't know.
I think you kind of did, of being the mentor of, no, I got to rebuild you. You got to establish who you are. I think it's kind of everything John Moxley's been saying to Will Ospreay.
Oh, to Will Ospreay. Well, I came up with this before that started showing up on TV. But yes, absolutely. It does. It does have a little bit of a connection there.
I was like, that's a joke I can say, because that's kind of what you said.
But absolutely,
I was going to ask you, and maybe someone will clip this, of should Jordan Grace go back to NXT? Is Mike Santana, I know some people have said he's going to show up on the main roster. Is he going to debut? Is he going to show up in the crowd at MSG at Saturday Night's Main Event? Your newest NXT superstar, Mike Santana, because he's going to get the big can pop being in New York City, but where does he does he run in on something? All of that. Does Jordan, if she can't find it on the main roster, does she need to go back to NXT because she kind of got sucked up in that vacuum of Stephanie and Julia?
I think the biggest mistake was having her debut in NXT. Really? after the Royal Rumble, she was regulated to NXT. She came in so hot that Jordan Grace could have took the main roster by storm if they continued on what TNA was building with her. She was over with the crowd already. But then what they did was, first they made her change her finisher. That's been a big thing that I've seen talked about, because her finisher is almost similar to Penta's. They made her change her finisher, and then the entrance music just sucked.
She lost the sirens. She's not Big Mama Pump anymore.
The sirens, and then the hard rock music that she had before, which was not just TNA's music. She used that everywhere. WWE had to Def Rebel it, and it was like, oh my God. I feel like a lot of aura was, and I hate using that word, but I felt like a lot of aura was lost with just changing her entrance music. Because you heard those sirens, you thought Jordan Grace. I know people say you heard those sirens and you thought Scott Steiner. Scott Steiner's long gone. When I hear those sirens, I hear Jordan Grace, right? And I think that was a big loss. That was hurtful. I'll say it like that.
Braun Breaker, but somebody who might be known just by his intro song of Sosa looking like a fucking gazelle going over the ropes there,
right?
But how do you feel about seeing Ricky Sosa now back in TNA? Of he's very much you were doing the whole Sosa, bang bang. Of is he now pairing with Trey or with Leon? Going to be his kind of passing of the torch moment? Is it going to be his Leon might be out, but we're going to give Sosa kind of the keys to the castle here a bit?
I do think, I do think it may be a passing, potentially. I do like that they're using Ricky Sosa a lot. He's been on almost every episode since he's returned. Last week picking up a big victory over the System and the Righteous with that nasty uppercut. That was a nasty uppercut that he gave to Bear Bronson last week. This is, if you want to build new stars, because we're letting go guys like Steve Macklin and Eric Young, this is who you build, and it's Ricky Sosa.
Is this, and real quick, just because Almighty Pop, I see you, I agree. I want Santana in NXT, but I really hope he answers an open challenge while Trick has the U.S. title. That would be dope. If you do that in MSG, it'd be interesting. Could you imagine if they switched the title? Like, that's the thing is that I always question with some shit like that is how much is it what we as fans, like us, the WFU, our universe, everybody with us, that we know who Mike Santana is. We would love that moment. Oh my God, we're getting Trick and Mike Santana. We're getting a TNA title rematch out here for the US title. But how many people that are regular fans that are tuning into a Saturday's Main Event, what have you, because they saw Jalen Brunson was going to be in attendance, know who Mike Santana is?
Yeah, and not a lot of people. Not a lot of people. And I think for me, that was like the biggest mistake with Jordynne Grace, because people knew Jordynne Grace. That was her second Royal Rumble, and she got a big pop at her first Royal Rumble, bigger pop at her second Royal Rumble. So the crowd knew who Jordynne Grace was, and then sending her to NXT, it just died out, right? Mike Santana is a little different. Mike Santana has never stepped foot on the main roster. He's been NXT a couple of times. So like the NXT crowd knows who Mike Santana is. When they hear that theme song, they're going to jump. Madison Square Garden, maybe not. I know it's his home state, but it's under the WWE umbrella.
Well, and that's the only thing that gets interesting, because yes, it is New York, but it's also MSG. This isn't the Barclays or something.
Exactly.
That's a little bit more, might be some regular, even if you don't know Mike from WWE or from NXT or even from TNA, you might know him from House of Glory. You've seen, like, he's a known New York wrestler and everything. Now, with it being MSG, you might get more of those casual fans or anything that it's a show that's at MSG and I want to be there at MSG kind of thing.
Right.
That aren't wrestling fans. I'm not trying to gatekeep. Can we all just admit that in 2026, gatekeeping is dead?
Yeah, definitely. It definitely is that. But you're absolutely right. It's going to be those casual fans. And like you said, it's not like the Barclays Center. It's not like the is it the UBS Arena? That's kind of right on the line of New Jersey, New York, that they had Slammiversary at. And you knew it was like, this is Mike Santana. This is where he grew up. I don't see him getting, that big of a pop or anything at MSG.
Like I said, I think they'll probably do something to where they announce him in the crowd. He'll be in a front row seat, and that'll be probably about it. I don't know where he'd fit in on a run-in or anything, or any sort of like a promo segment, or you do a video package. Would you maybe do a video package? And that's your way to introduce him to everybody a little bit? You could do that. You definitely could do some type of video package, and it might actually jog some people's memory of who he is. Fair. Yeah. But as we're back from commercial break, but Denisha, you guys, she just got injured, so she recovers from it, yo. But she's back from injury now. Like you even said, she just was wrestling on Main Event. Like
she's had a couple of matches on main event. It wasn't just like she just got back. She's had a couple of matches on main event.
She got wheeled out after the ankle injury.
Yeah,
but she's been back since that.
But my question back to you is, what was they doing with her before? And it wasn't much of nothing. She jobbed to Jade Cargill in a title match, and then before that, like, she showed up on a SmackDown and literally did not receive a pop from the crowd. So I'm just pointing things out, not trying to call anybody out.
I'm just saying things. I'm just saying things.
Out, the trajectory of what's been going on with Jordynne Grace.
As I got a 2 count from Sosa. Sorry.
Yes, 2 count from Sosa. And sorry, I was just going to say, and it's almost coming up to 2 years that she's been full-time WWE. It would be 2 years Royal Rumble. So we'll see. We'll see.
It's getting interesting out there. But Russ Rant saying, yeah, the Sirens was definitely a big hit for Jordan's entrance, just like Braun. It just sets the tone immediately. Perception is 9/10 of reality, I feel.
Right. No, I can agree there. Oh, Bronson with a big forearm.
Santana's going to, but no, he's not going to do that. He's going to replace Damian Priest, because Damian Priest is going to go to AAA.
Yes, Damian Priest.
No one's going to know the difference.
Yes, they're gonna slide Mike Santana in just to replace Damian Priest. I like that.
Yeah, they're going to do the Spider-Man meme and everything.
Oh, Sosa with an Enziguri.
Oh,
that was nice.
Sit out powerbomb.
That was nice. And a big boot. He hit that like moose a little bit.
Well, he's tall. Like, he's tall and athletic. Like, he's one of those guys that can do the same stuff that a compact guy like a Trey Miguel can do, but does it with that length. Though it's like seeing a guy in a dunk contest of when you can really like throw the ball way out here and get really can limber with it. It looks more impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. Like he has like you said, he has the height and like the athleticism to do these big moves. He can be a high flyer and I don't want to use that term because I know y'all said pause.
He put some weight on. Would he be closer to like a trick?
Yeah, that. I know if the system interferes here, Leon Slater is definitely running out to save Sosa. Oh, he gets caught.
1, 2, 2.
Go. I have to say, TNA second week in a row been putting on some really good matches. The M by Elegance Rosemary match was fun until the disqualification. Moose and AJ Francis was cooking. It was getting there, and this has been fun so far too. That's one thing I can say about TNA. There's not a shortage of bad wrestling match. I mean, of good wrestling matches.
That's always been its saving grace.
Suit. Yeah,
it is that you will still tune in because despite nonsense, you will have good wrestling.
Despite nonsense, and we had got a lot of nonsense over the past
over its whole lineage out here, my guy. What are we talking about?
Right. I still am not gonna forgive Tommy Dreamer for having uppercut to Brian.
Spinning forearm. It is a little still not as clean as I'd like, but it's still not. Like you can still see it's a little. All right, no kid, you're supposed to be over here.
Yeah. He's still, kind of
that lost in translation. He's like Tom Hanks at the airport.
Ooh, Bear Bronson though, with whatever that move was for the 3. But I do want to finish my train of thought. I was saying that I'm not going to forgive Tommy Dreamer for having Mr. Elegance pin the knockout champion. I'm not going to forgive him ever for that. And never, forever, never. That might be on my tombstone. I haven't forgiven Tommy Dreamer for having Mr. Elegance pin the knockout champion because that was atrocious.
Yeah. I am a boy, Damon.
So Bear Bronson picks up the win in a really solid match between him and Ricky Sosa.
Well, again, as I will read this quickly from EQ and shout out. I don't want to ever try and I'm not reading through comments quickly just to try and run through. It's more because there's so much going on. But I knew we were going to get some cool streams this week. Shout out. And WWE's at Fanatics. Yes. Shout out everybody that's out there in NYC at Fanatics Fest. Trust me, if you can get a Wrestling for Life sign at Fanatics Fest and show us a picture that you were there and everything, we will send you the merch. Trust me, I'll do it personally. I won't deliver it, but I'll send it to you. But yeah, of a lot of cool stuff going on with wrestling, and back to with Bear Bronson out here. I know I mentioned Casey, Trey, Mustafa. Bear Bronson's a guy that I would put him ahead of AJ Francis. I would say it's a guy who I want as TNA World Champion.
I can definitely go with that. I like Bear Bronson. He has this rugged look. He has this aggression in the ring. We haven't heard him talk much, but when he does talk, you do listen. So yeah, I think I can see him as world champion, and I know he likes it in TNA. He's been outspoken about that. Same as the Righteous, when he was outspoken about being in TNA, the Righteous came out and basically, gave their own sentiment to that. So that's another guy. This is why, and I might go on a tangent here, but this is why, as much as I do appreciate the system, I think that's why the system needs to dismantle a little bit, because Bear Bronson is a guy that I liked in the system in the beginning, but he's bigger than the system. He can be bigger than the system. Cedric Alexander, the same thing. I like him in the system, but he's bigger than the system. We all know that. And that's why I feel like, as much as I may like them, I feel like they need to maybe take a pause for a minute and let those two at least shine without having the system backing.
Fair enough. Well, as much as I might agree with you, I got a rapid fire here from Paul of the word pause has become a global annoyance. I like that I brought in the plagues of pause and what chance to the streams out here and everything. I don't think that was a thing until I was out here, because it's all the New York City shit. But we've tried to dial it back as much as we can, but sometimes some things be a little sus out there. You just got to clarify a bit, and it's just funny.
Yeah,
damn it, let's have some fun. TNA's really got to go to small arenas. There's nobody in that place. Is that a thing with TNA? Do we need to are the tapings? I know you went to the Atlanta taping, like you said. Was it packed out, sold out for 2 nights, or was it, you bought a seat up here, let's move you down a couple rows here?
I think when it comes to TNA, I think this is the problem with the tapings, because I've been to tapings before of wrestling shows, right? But they're really only taping like one episode, right? TNA has you there. I'm trying to remember.
For the day.
It's like an 8-hour shift. I'm gonna just be honest. You're there from 7 at night to almost midnight, maybe a little shy of midnight. And by the time you get to 7 or 8 matches, like, the crowd is leaving, right? And they're taping so much in a short amount of time, you get fatigued. I was there both nights. The first night was a little bit different because it was a live episode of TNA Impact. So at 7 they recorded some stuff. 6:37 they recorded some stuff. Up until 9 o'clock when they went live on AMC, and then they let everybody go after the AMC taping live episode was over. The next night, though, it was like from 6:37 till about midnight, and about 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11-ish, I was about to call it. I was about to leave. There are a lot of people leaving. There are a lot of people getting in line to meet the Hardys. 11 o'clock, I was like, if we are not done in the next 20 minutes, I'm going. I'm tired. I need to book it home. And luckily that was the last match. So it's a fatigue of the tapings. Because when the tapings start, the arena that they are selling tickets for. So the partial arena that they're selling tickets for is full. By the time you get to the end of that first night's tapings, it's just completely, almost empty. I think this is a part of the tapings issue. I also feel like this is a part of TNA needed to be live a little bit more. And maybe potentially going to smaller arenas too. And saving those bigger ish arenas for live episodes and pay-per-views.
Well, I mean, no disrespect, but they're already kind of at small venues. I don't know what's next that's smaller.
They are at smaller ish venues. I know here in Atlanta, they went to the arena that the Atlanta Dream played, but before that, they were going to Center Stage, which I feel like Center Stage was perfect for TNA. But then going to the arena where the Atlanta Dream played, they couldn't fill it up. They couldn't sell it out. But that also goes to marketing. That also goes to just TNA putting themselves out there more, and hopefully silencing the chatter. The online chatter that TNA has a lot too. That's negative.
Well, TNA is always going to have that because they're the fucking Harry Potter of pro wrestling, the company that should have died 1,000 times but lived.
That
Even
is
Scott
true.
Steiner goddamn said that. And I felt so vindicated when Scott Steiner said that in the Dark Side of the Ring episode.
Yeah.
Of it should have died 1,000 deaths.
Oh yeah, he definitely did say that. And then he kind of praised that they were still around too. A lot of them did praise TNA for still being around after all that they have went through. And we didn't even touch on Dixie Carter because that's just like.
Well, I mean, I got Harley Hudson out here right now, and all right, I need to play the role of. Tuesdays and Thursdays are very much out here competing on a Yum Yums per capita engagement. I feel out here.
Yum Yums.
Right?
She is out. Well, I mean, Harley Hudson. So raise your glass and fill your cup. She's very much just pink, but
yeah, that is true. That is true.
Thea's out here. She's interesting because she survived the Chase U days of NXT. She's kind of been reestablishing herself, but you really don't know. I know less of what Thea Hale is now than what I knew before when she was the spastic sorority squirrel.
Yeah.
Everything. Now she's out here shotgunning energy drinks and failing at that.
And we have we really seen her on TV that much either? Like on NXT?
The one match, and like I said, to where she was out there trying to fail at a shotgun, and then she's been off.
Yeah, I mean, when she was announced for the tournament, I was like, where has she been?
But she's somebody that I almost feel like could work doing, and I know we talked about Jordan Grace before, and Paul wanted us to read his comments. Drop him as a super chat, and we'll make sure to read them because sometimes we miss that. But we'll even like Boston saying, well, Jordan should go back to TNA. Thea's not a bad shout to where she's not exactly an Ariana Grace. If she goes to TNA and has a bit of a mini run there, how do you feel of having some NXT talent that way? Do a run at TNA.
I don't mind that. Like if it's like someone that's not being featured on TV a lot, someone that I feel like could bring something potentially to the Knockouts division, like Thea Hale. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. I definitely wouldn't mind that at all. But just coming in, snatching the titles, like what is her name? I'm not calling JCJ now because I didn't mind her being NXT champion. I mean TNA Knockout champion. But who was the one that held it after her?
Ariana Grace.
Right before her. Kalani Jordan. Kalani Jordan, like that wasn't needed. Like that was not needed at all.
Yeah. Well, that's how monumental it was that struggling to remember who it was.
Exactly. Like
that was the lasting impact, pun intended.
Right. I was cool with JC Jane because it was like it was shocking, and then it was pretty cool because she was double champion. She held it down, but Kalani Jordan was not needed, and Ariana Grace definitely was not needed at all. I feel like we're on the right trajectory with the knockout side. I know you feel a little different with Zaya Brookside, and that's okay. But at least it's in TNA's hands, and it seems like it's staying in TNA's hands for a minute. So I'm okay with that.
Oh, absolutely. I think that this might be, especially if TNA and Shut Up Dirtbag. Yeah, that good old Mulaney. But no, we got you. Words are hard. And yeah, Kalani, of that, it was such a fucking minimal goddamn typo. We got it. Love you. But it was such a goddamn minimal fucking story arc and everything that it didn't matter.
And then you having like you having Kalani Jordan get in Jordan Grace's face and talking about, you know, you left this brand, you don't know what a knockout is or whatever. And it's like, excuse me? Kalani, right? Sit down. Sit down. Go take some seats.
I thought Thea was JC's Goonies. Well, she's very much got that like late era Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, late 90s, early 2000s kind of hair.
Right?
I know I've got those flowing locks, so I can really judge hair. But yeah, she very much looks like she's just past, like, I'm not that innocent. See, we got a battle of the pop stars out here. We've got Pink versus Britney.
Pink versus Britney. I like that. I like that. This match has been pretty decent so far, though.
Well, it is hardly going to show up and show out. And this is going back to, like I said before, of if you had a bit more of the indie talents and everything, if you had maybe some OVW talents, which may be why that should be where TNA is focusing, you have some more OVW talent involved in this, then you can kind of play a bit more with that dynamic. Like I said before, you could have somebody that may not win the tournament, but wins a contract with TNA because they've showed up and showed out.
Yeah, no, and I think, excuse me, and I think the way you explained that earlier was perfect, because like Gabby Forza put on a clinic last week against Jordan Grace, against Jody Threat. That's someone that you can offer a TNA contract to. Vicious Vicky was really good too against Indy Hartwell. So if you would have basically kind of pushed him into the second round to the quarterfinals maybe, and seen a little bit more from them, yeah, definitely could have offered them some type of TNA contract for the Knockouts division.
It's a little, well, I mean, it's a bit of the play as Thea with a 2 count, like even like the Cruiserweight Classic or something like that, or the Mae Young Classic of, you may not win this, but you were so impressive throughout this tournament that we want to sign you.
Yeah.
Even though you did, and you'd have to have you can't just kind of arbitrarily do that. I mean, you could, but I think that you have enough talent that would show up and show out to deliver that.
And I'm glad you brought up the Cruiserweight Classic, because I believe it was during the first Cruiserweight Classic where the match was so good. I don't remember who it was. It might have been Cedric Alexander.
Cedric and Ali.
Yeah, and Ali won, and the crowd chanted, "Please sign Cedric." And then Triple H came out and said, "We'll make that happen." So yeah, I agree with with you.
Cedric Ali, or was it TJP?
I think it might have been TJP. I think it might have been TJP. I can't remember though. It's been a minute.
Fair enough, but yeah, no, I very much get what you're saying, and that was a thing for sure. As Harley Hudson with a neck breaker.
I don't know, neck breaker. That was pretty innovative.
Well, it looked like it was going to be an air raid crash, but
yeah, and then Thea with that DDT. I said in a TikTok video that if you're missing this tournament, you're missing some really, really good matches.
Please help me remember what name I gave it, like when it first kicked off and everything, because I know I said it on that stream and I can't remember.
I think you said KTT, KOTT, something like that.
It was one of those, but yeah, of this has been some of the best stuff that TNA has actually done. Like, I almost wish this.
Oh shoot!
Hey,
These advances. I ain't gonna lie. She did her thing in this match. To be honest,
she almost screams more TNA knockout than she does NXT. Being honest,
yeah.
keep it a buck.
No, I
Harley
agree.
Hudson won a match in TNA, by the way.
I mentioned that earlier. That was my a little doubt that she was going to win. I don't think she's won a singles match yet in TNA.
I'm questioning if she's won a match, not even a singles. Like,
I think she's won a tag team
5-on-1 handicap and still lost somehow. I
think she's won a tag team match with the other one that was just released. Oh man.
Oh,
Grace, Mila Moore.
Tessa? No, it would have been Tessa.
No.
Oh,
I cannot remember her name. I cannot remember her name.
Like Mackenzie something or whatever.
Yes, it was something like that. It was something in that. Was it Mila Grace? I think it was Mila Grace.
She was out there in the Irish independence and everything.
Yes. It was Mila Grace. That was her tag team partner for a while, and I think she won 1 or 2 matches with her. But singles competition, absolutely not.
Fair enough.
She's not. But Nick Nemeth is coming out for some. We will hear from Nick Nemeth time, and I will let you guys hear from Nick, our Nick, while I take a short pause here.
Yeah, I think you might want to refresh a minute there, sir. Of you were out there sounding like the robots from the Mystery Science Theaters and everything for a brief period, but it might have just been my end as I'm getting an advertisement for a Jaws-a-thon, which I still constantly quote. Show me the way to go home. That's how I get through the AW pay-per-views. And the Quint Jaws can speech, the USS Indianapolis. But yes, we've got TNA still rolling on out there. Saturday Jaws-a-thon. Remember when like Discovery used to have, well, does Discovery still even have Shark Week? I remember when Jaws was viewed at one point as it's the biggest Hollywood blockbuster, but it did the most damage to shark preservation and conservation ever because you made them the biggest fucking heel in the history of the ocean. No, fact, MDB shout out. I don't even know who said hi to you out here. But Boston, what up? Paul, count how many are clicked on. What did you say now? What are you getting mad out here? We try and do everything, okay? Harley Hudson, stay catching L's, but she looks good. Do it. So raise your glass and fill your cup. She's very. There is something there, and I do very much expect that. Is TNA almost kind of breaking out of its like 2.0 era a little bit of. So we've moved on from all of this. So now we're going to go into, hey, Trey, Casey, Ali, Harley Hudson. I'd even keep around goddamn Thea Hale or anything. You start to have this, well, you're going to use Xia Brookside as your knockouts champion. You start to bring in this influx of younger talent, and even this is why I say the independent talent, because they're not an ex so-and-so wrestler. AEW's always had that issue. WCW had that issue. TNA had that issue on its own point at one point of bringing in ex WWE talent or ex so-and-so talents and everything. And while I still think that there might be some, like Dexter's probably going to sign with TNA, but he was TNA talent before he was WWE talent, if we're getting critical. But TNA, I think, really needs to go back to reverting and focusing on developing internal talent that they built up, that talent that wasn't already established somewhere else that they were just riding on. Pause. I know I said pause. I shouldn't have paused. I apologize. The thing about this Harley Hudson is that she's short. I don't know if the look fits her. Could be wrong. Well, say you're probably kind of wrong on that. I think she fits the look pretty solid, and she's out there hitting push-ups and everything mid-match. Julia and Stephanie Leonard, that to me is a miss with them. Mance is a miss. Sammy Callahan's a miss and a whiff with TNA. They've had a few, and maybe it is what it is. I know that there was the whole talk about, there was a story going around that Carlos had to be made aware of what Steph's injury actually was. I don't know how much I don't want to completely doubt somebody saying something like that, because that's a really strong claim to make. But I can't verify it for sure. But if that is a thing that happened, that would make full sense as to why you don't want to work there. But also, TNA is very much, I think, reestablishing itself. And honestly, I'm surprised that Tony hasn't swooped up a Steph or a Mance. Or did they get swooped up by MLW? Which that's actually a fucking promotion that almost feels like it needs to be talked about a bit more. Ronan, I see you. There, we finally clicked. I'm getting the nemesis. I'm getting Nick Nemeth out here. I can't even say his name without the lisp. If I can find the slide. And I know I've had it with Anthony on this, of him winning, Santana leaving, all of that. Right decision, wrong decision, the stupid goddamn bowling trophy cup, of all of that. But it is maybe one of those that your regular casual wrestling fan would at least see him and, hey, that's Dolph Ziggler. Hey, that's the guy on Busted Open. All of that. So maybe that's some extra eyes. I also don't think he's a guy that's incapable of being beat. Of Mike Santana putting over, say, or losing to a Casey Navarro is a much bigger statement. It has a different effect. That has a different outcome than if Nick loses to Navarro. Of that makes Navarro. Not saying Santana wouldn't, but it also has much more of a negative impact on Santana, I feel. And you couldn't do somebody like a Kazarian because that's too high. So I think having a guy like Nick, who can still go, who's still actually really good in ring, he might be kind of the passe vibe a bit. But given the right situation, he can really put over talent. And I think that's what they're going to do with him and Casey. That's the story that they're currently doing. That's where I think that they're going to do the big transition. I don't know if it's going to be at, say, a Lockdown or Destination X or something. But I think at some point you're going to do that transition. And that'll be one of those, hey, we're kind of picking a guy here and we're going to get behind him. It's going to be a youth movement. You're going to see some new names fleshed into the scene. Like I said, of Trey Miguel is a guy who I think, if he doesn't go after Ali, could be a guy that could even win the world title off of Nemeth. So I think we're going to have some really interesting and good matches, but you're going to see a youth movement kind of run through TNA for a bit, I feel. My opinion. Anthony just announced Will Ospreay versus Adam Brooks on Collision. That's about to be good. Well, the recent TNA, taping veteran out there, Adam Brooks, but Ospreay fighting his fellow Australian on a Collision, which, by the way, anyone remember that Hangman Adam Page, Hangman, with that kind of haircut, showed up on Collision? Because Dynamite didn't tell you it happened. AEW didn't tell you it happened. He showed up and said he's going to honor that he's not going to challenge for the world title and what's next for Hangman and all that. But the whole company that's behind him, that still should be pushing him, didn't mention that he showed up at all. No video package, no callback, no nothing. It was barely announced last week during Beach Break that he was going to show up then. And then there was no mention of it on the following week. Why? You had your chance. Destin, peoples who go into MSG this Saturday, please chant Bailey sucks and please chant what Lyra, and I'm encouraging y'all to please hijack the show. No. Destin, I love you and I appreciate you, but I don't condone this message. I want an anti-campaign of hey, Bailey. Ooh, huh. I'm always for anti-Pam out there. As Casey walking off. See, this is where you could get Nemeth just berates the shit out of Casey, beats him down. Has even has a guy, like I said, an AJ Francis that just smashes the shit out of Casey, who has history with Casey, by the way. And then he has to earn and work and fight and claw for his world title shot. And then he overcomes the name that is the Nemeth. Toros, love you back. They announced Hangman was going to be on Collision. Dynamite doesn't have to go over everything that happened on Collision. They at least have to go over something. How about that, Boston? I understand you want to take the contrarian point, and I get it. It's cute. You want the interaction and everything. I appreciate you. But at the same time, that's your former world champion. The first time we've seen him since he lost the world title and had that stipulation invoked upon him. You should, at very minimum, at least acknowledge that he was there and what was said. 30 seconds to a minute. Doesn't have to be a fucking soliloquy or a whole segment. You could have a minute of, we had Hangman show up last week on Collision and he's got the history, this or that or whatever, however you want to cut into it. Acknowledge that moment happened. It was meant to be a big moment. It should have been a bigger moment than it was. Acknowledge that it happened. Casey's going to prove them all wrong, including you. Casey's a guy, too, that could have honestly signed with AEW at one point, but chose TNA instead. You know, make me feel a lot better kicking your ass. Why? AEW is a show on Collision. Why do they have to talk about it on Dynamite? If you want to know what happens on Collision, try watching Collision. Yeah, but nobody does that. And hey, they still show things that happen on Raw and SmackDown, and they still show things that happen on SmackDown on Raw. Like, it's a straw man's argument of to sit there and say, well, if you didn't, they don't have to show it. They just watch the show. No, it's a big moment. Acknowledge your big moments. Don't play coy with that bullshit of it's a big moment. Acknowledge your big moments. It's your guy who's a former world champion who we haven't seen since he lost the world title to MJF, who just lost the world title and everything. And we haven't even seen him respond to the fact that he shouldn't be challenged, that he's not going to be challenging for the world title anymore. AEW isn't WWE's point of, all right, can you have fun with that, Boston? Not everyone has to bow to the Fed. No, but it's fucking basic storytelling. Sorry. There, is that the reaction you wanted? You actually got me mad. As Casey and Nick going out here back and forth. Like me and you, Boston. Restaurants, yeah, that's effing crazy. I had zero idea Hangman was back, bro, before yesterday. I still don't know when he returned. I saw a post-up. He was on Collision that they announced randomly during Beach Break. Just said he'd show up. He was going to kick off Collision. He comes out, says, I'm going to honor the stipulation that I'm not going to challenge for the world title anymore. And what's next for Hangman Page? And his haircut sucked. To add injury to insult on all of that. But it was supposed to be a bigger moment, and then they turn around. And yeah, they had it on Collision. So watch Collision. Yeah, but no one can watch his Collision. We've conceded that. Yes, I know you did. You goddamn it, you can bastard. I know you did. But it's getting easy, okay? Sometimes the vitamins are out there, and I haven't can let it off yet. But they needed that to be a bigger moment. That should have been a moment that was included into everything going on. Of he's involved in the world title picture. He has a connection to literally everyone involved in the world title picture. And there were some people that even thought he could have intervened and screwed Max when he was taking on Kenny. So to act like that was such a throwaway moment, and yes, congratulations, pat yourself on the back. You fucking rage baited me. There you go. Point to the chat, point to Boston out there. That you got one over on me, but no, it should have been so much more. And that's right now my biggest gripe with AEW. I think as a whole, it should be so much more than what it is. Fucking Kevin Knight versus Kenny Omega. The crowd's chanting no at the match. But book it, Dano. We built towards Kevin Knight versus Darby because pyros and everything, and they took each other out, and he stomped on him on a fucking stretcher and everything. But we're gonna do it on a random Dynamite the week before the fucking pay-per-view. What? Why? Just so, and make sure you hear Friday, because I know KJ watched the whole show and everything. We're definitely gonna be talking about it. We still got to try and get through these, talk to these last 20 minutes or so of TNA. But very much Dynamite is just shooting themselves in the goddamn foot, left, right, and fucking center. And I don't get why. They are like choosing to, they're playing to their audience. I will give them that. They are playing to their audience. They are not trying to grow their audience, I feel, but they are playing to their audience. You have Ospreay and Omega mentioning how it's going to be Goku versus Vegeta. And as much as I like Ospreay, and as much as I like Omega, and as much as I'm a nerdy Dragon Ball Z fan and everything, you said the quiet part out loud. Why is that a fucking promo that was said outside of you're playing to your very much your core audience? Which I get, you need to in some aspect, but not only exclusively. I said that Meltzer versus Omega versus Ospreay was going to be the Meltzer Classic out there. And you've already got fucking Marvez petitioning for how Tony should be in the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame. Good God, if you could have these two more in bed, it'd be a fucking AI image. But I digress, as we're in commercial break right now. Trust me, getting Boston got me all hot and bothered. Pause, and now I gotta walk it off here. I could see Darby defeat Kevin Knight next week. That should be on a goddamn pay-per-view, though, Damien. That should be the match on the pay-per-view, not him fighting. What is the goddamn redemption card? So, Kyle Fletcher versus Bandito. Okay. Good match. Interesting build towards it so far. Still feels like probably at All In we're going to get Fletcher, Takeshita, Okada. Maybe Bandito throws in a four-way and that's how many stars can this match get? Tekla versus Willow. I want to see Willow versus Monet, but Tekla's been the goddamn star. I'm actually intrigued by that. Could you do a three-way? Andrade versus Mark Davis. Why? Why is Andrade going after the national title when he's got MJF's ring? I thought they were trying to have them fight each other for a world title. Omega versus Kevin Knight, I already said, to me, it is such a goddamn throwaway. Like, that is a TV match. He just wrestled MJF for the fucking title. Did he not even wrestle? Did he not wrestle Darby for the title too? Speaking of the man's wrestling for titles out here, or he should be coming back anytime soon. But give me Darby versus Kevin Knight and have that be a focal point on Redemption instead of Kevin Knight versus Kenny Omega. Hi, sir. We went on a bit of an AEW Rampage because they don't happen on Fridays anymore.
What did I miss? What are we talking about here with AEW? How trash Dynamite was last night?
Well, Boston rage baited. What did you fucking exactly rage bait me into and everything? Where were your goddamn comments? Oh, because AEW didn't need to mention about Hangman showing up on Collision or anything because they didn't mention on Dynamite at all.
Oh, yeah. So he did return at Collision. I mean, I feel like it should have been mentioned. Like, I mean, Hangman is a big deal, but maybe I don't know. Maybe Hangman, since he's not going to challenge for the world title anymore, is going to be a Collision guy. Maybe his mainstay show is going to be Collision now. I don't know.
Oh. Well, you got a super chat. Sorry.
I still hate that stipulation though. Like he can never challenge for the world title again. I think that's just a stupid stipulation.
It didn't work when Cody did it, and it didn't work the second time, and it definitely didn't work the third time they attempted.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But you got a super chat that we missed from Spaz out here.
Let's see what he says. Tony, you see WWE and AAA are coming for AEW taking all out with a Worlds Collide. Funny since what AEW did to Slammiversary, right? Yeah. Hey, you reap what you sow, right? you take Slammiversary spot, WWE takes your spot. That's what you get.
They're not gonna run the same time. You're gonna have,
but I believe they're running in the same city
early in the afternoon, and
I believe they're running in the same city though, and I feel like running in the same
Chicago
city
on the same day
and running in the same time is like two different things.
I don't think they're gonna run at the same time. I know, but I don't think they're gonna go full straight head on because if they were running at the same time in the same date at the same city, you are running directly head on. That is two trains.
I love it. Do it, WWE. Do it. Same time, same city, the same arena if you could.
Italian Ice Steve Austin. But yes, we do have Cedric taking on Eichner out here for the X Division Championship. Yeah, Boston was real proud that he fucking goaded me into rage baiting.
He's good at that. He's definitely good at rage baiting.
Yeah, well, that's the one time that I wasn't here to react to it live, and it wasn't great. And I'm still very fearful of what they're doing with Maxwell. And well, did you at least see where Kenny and Omega? Omega and Ospreay mentioned how this is going to be truly Goku versus Vegeta. It's like they said the quiet part out loud. Like that is the cringiest kind of shit I've probably heard in quite some time. And I'm a Dragon Ball Z fan and a Kenny and Ospreay fan.
This is how I know you're over it. When you said, "Did you hear Kenny and Omega?" You're like, you don't even give a crap anymore.
Well, I was trying to remember the names and the pages stick together. Okay.
No, I actually didn't see that at all. But please don't compare wrestling to Dragon Ball Z, the culture. Don't do that, please. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really.
I five that I wasn't aware.
I'm not an Omega fan. I don't see what people see in him. I've even watched like some of his matches in New Japan where they said he was really good, right? He just doesn't resonate with me. He's not my type of wrestler. So I honestly really don't care for what's gonna happen at All In between him and Ospreay. I do hope Ospreay wins the title.
That's a match that's for their fans. That's not a match for including any new fans.
Yeah. I don't know. I hope Ospreay wins, but yeah, I'm not really an Ospreay fan. I mean, I'm sorry, an Omega fan.
I gotta go take a quick walkabout after Boston got me all heated and hot and bothered out there, so I'll be back quickly.
Nick takes a pause here. Paul says, "What happened? Did Anthony forget he had a YouTube show? Anthony had to do some stuff. put some clothes in the washer and things of that sort. So yeah, I lost sight of time for a second. But we do have the main event. We got the X Division Championship on the line. Cedric Alexander versus Fabian Eichner. TNA is going on commercial, so I will go through the chat a little bit here. Damien says, I'm not paying 50 to watch Kenny Omega night. I don't know. I kind of feel you on that at all. I don't know. I don't know if I want to pay for that. Boston says, if they can have Sammy win a title at a pay-per-view, why can't AEW do Kenny Knight versus Omega? I don't know. I don't think people, I feel like people wanted to see Sami Zayn win the title. I know a lot of us didn't. I was one of those that didn't, but I'll take Sammy over Knight. I do like Knight though, but I don't know. Oh great, Anthony's back. No more comments getting clicked. Well, I'm clicking on comments now, MDB. I'm clicking on comments now. So boo you. TNA is still on commercial. We still have the main event going on. I'm seeing Cedric Alexander retains. I feel like Cedric Alexander retains too. I don't think that X Division title is going anywhere until potentially lockdown. We still got roughly a month away from lockdown, which I'm excited for. MDB says, I think I'm going to try to go to Worlds Collide. I need to see Zarya up close. I hope you don't get a chance to go to Worlds Collide. That's my evil thought for the day. Let's see. Trying to get through the chat a little bit more. Let's see. I think Spaz has a super chat down here. One day each of us will clap for the last time and not realize it. I'd rather 6 sides for Destination X rather than Lockdown stamped out. I'm okay with that. I like the 6 sides of steel. I really am a fan of that match, that like match type. Destination X, definitely a return. Like that's an X Division staple pay-per-view. I hope they can find a way to make, I know the regular square circle is a little bit better on the wrestlers' bodies. I hope they can somewhat make that 6-sided ring a little bit better on the wrestlers' bodies as well. I really like that ring, and Eric Bischoff pissed me off, and we talked about that earlier in the Dark Side of the Ring, what he had to say about 6-sided ring, about TNA, and he didn't even have no knowledge of what TNA and TNA's fan base was back then in the height of TNA. Damien says, I think we're getting Moose and Elijah versus AJ Francis versus Frankie next week. Seems like a pretty cool match to see. Moose and AJ Francis kind of been in a feud. We're revisiting the Elijah Frankie feud, so pretty good tag team match. And I know we didn't get to touch on a lot of Dark Side of the Ring as this commercial break is kind of long, but Dixie Carter pissed me off a lot too. Go
ahead. Breach the Dixie hate out there.
Dixie had played a power trip. There's a couple of fans out there saying this was a smear campaign on Dixie Carter, and it wasn't. Dixie Carter had every opportunity to be a part of Dark Side of the Ring.
Well, and everybody from Stevie to Dutch to Jim to anybody to even Russo to an extent, and even Russo seemed like a little bit of a lapdog for her, respectfully, has all kind of said the same things about Dixie throughout the entire time. Jeff's even said it on his podcast, and I know Jeff's gonna have skewed view, but everybody that's worked with her has pretty much said it. Awesome Kong, even in the whole thing, when she had the fucking town hall meeting and aired it. I was gonna say though, Dixie Carter had every chance to be a part of the Dark Side of the Ring. Vice reached out to her on multiple occasions, and then Vice reached out to Jeff Jarrett, and they didn't ask Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett offered to reach out to Dixie Carter. He reached out, she still said no. So I'm sorry if the fans feel like it was a smear campaign. She had every right to get on Dark Side of the Ring and tell her side of the story, and she didn't. And according to Karen Jarrett and on their
their My World podcast that I watched the other day, Karen said if they did a dark side of the knockouts, every last knockout would go in there and talk mess about Dixie Carter. So yeah, Dixie Carter was not a good person for TNA. I'll just put it like that.
I think once she got booed when they had the debut episode on AMC and everything, and they announced her back, like they showed her and everything, and she got resounding boos of, yeah, she was over this, of like, I'm done. Because even like one big thing before I want to ask you in the chat, or kind of an interesting question, but it was really interesting to me to see how much they almost like they swindled her and got her to sit there and do the I'm begging Hogan spot. Like that whole conversation was, oh my God, you're willing to do that publicly. Like, and you don't think that affects anything. Like, you are such a lost fucking cause.
Even when
it's not, there's no helping you, there's no saving you.
Yeah, and then briefly, if we go back to Awesome Kong for a second, a pretty good main event here for the X Division title. But wait a minute.
Righteous deletion next week.
Righteous deletion next week for the. Do we get new tag team titles? Do we get new tag team champions next week? Please, I hope so. Oh my God!
I just the channel, Vincent out there. We need new tag champs out there. We need to be the first channel that's out there interviewing new TNA tag team champion Vincent
Eichner with the crazy DDT and then jumping to the top rope and hitting a splash. But briefly, because I know TNA is about to go off air, I just want to give props to Awesome Kong. What is it? Her real name, I think, is Kia Stevens. But she mentioned in the second part of Dark Side of the Ring how she found out Kurt Angle was getting paid $1 million a year, and she didn't take away anything from Kurt Angle. She said Kurt Angle deserved that $1 million. She said, but I felt like if Kurt Angle could get $1 million, I could at least get 1/10. So that'd be $100,000 a year to be a knockout. And she said she went to Dixie Carter, just explained her position, explained, everything she felt. And Dixie Carter said back to her, paraphrasing, we don't discredit anything you said, but right now we're not giving anybody else a raise. And that sent Awesome Kong into a tailspin, and she talked about how there were a couple of knockouts who were getting paid, including herself, less than being a manager at McDonald's. And she said one was a current TNA Knockout champion waiting tables, and she would wait tables and the people would see her on TV and ask her, is that you on TV? And she would say, yes, may I take your order? It came to a consensus, and we'll get back to the main event here, that she underpaid the Knockouts division. And if anybody knows, the Knockout division was really killing it back in the height of Spike TV days, and that was kind of shocking to hear.
Oh, for sure. She sat there and mentioned about how two count, how two former Knockouts champions that were working, as she even said, blue collar jobs. And when she's hit the fucking let them eat cake line about Dixie's whole, pomp and circumstance performance, I just got a belly laugh at that. If she was the fucking star of that whole thing, and it reminded me of how good she was, and how under Jeff, even how they talked about, TNA wasn't, oh my God, it's the second coming of pro wrestling. But to where you could have the X Division main event, you could have the World Heavyweight Division main event, you could have the Tag Title main event, you could have the Knockouts main event. That every division mattered and felt. Dixie deserved to get booed.
Oh, I'll go back to it. I'm sorry.
You can't all over someone's house and expect a welcoming response. Yeah, she brought this a bit upon herself. If you did the whole power play move, and you had the outs, you had the opportunities, and it was such an ego play with a lot of this.
Yeah, that
it was like the biggest thing was when they had that town hall meeting and then taped it and then re-aired it. That D'Lo Brown even said that took any bit of morale left out of the locker room.
Yeah, I mean, and she came off as like it was my way or the highway. She didn't come off like that. I think those were the
Said
exact
it. She
words she
literally said
said.
those
Yeah,
words.
those were the exact words she said. She said she expects 100% cooperation. It was just a mess, and to air that on weekly television, didn't know. I remember the interview that, but I didn't know it was aired on weekly television. It was just a mess, and apparently some of the other kind of knockouts have came out and spoke out a little bit on social media and said that wasn't the only one. There were multiple meetings like that with Dixie Carter. Ooh, nice move by Eichner there.
Jumping drop kick as
Yeah.
Cedric comes off the top rope out there. Anthony, were you a fan of the King of the Mountain match? King of the Mountain.
I like the King of the Mountain match, and they brought it back for a time being. I think the knockouts were the last one the knockouts were in, and I really enjoyed that. I kind of wish they would bring it back. Just don't bring back the reverse battle royal. Don't do that, please.
Well,
Never.
there's some of the Russos and everything, and Omega saying, "How is Goku versus Vegeta cringe?" It's not in the Dragon Ball Z context. It's when you say that publicly out loud on a wrestling company.
Power bomb by Eichner. No, absolutely. You're right. What you were saying about Goku and Vegeta. He's close to the ropes. Foot on the ropes.
It's when you say the quiet part out loud of it felt too nerdy inside baseball, which I mean, you and I have both even admitted Dragon Ball Z fans and still find like that's a little much. Like you cross the streams a little too awkwardly there.
Yeah. This is awesome chance out here. Bradley down here saying, and that's why Dixie Carter will never run another flipping goofy wrestling promotion again in her lifetime. Absolutely. I can admit I didn't know much about I knew Dixie as an on-screen character. Eddie.
Edwards hits a shining wizard and just slides under the ring as the rest distracted.
Didn't even see it. This is gonna be the end here. I didn't know much about Dixie behind the scenes, but watching Dark Side of the Ring gave me a whole different opinion about Dixie Carter. I'll say it like that.
See, I was that way with Karen Jarrett. 1, 2,
3. Really good main event. I was the same way though. To go back to your previous comment with Karen Jarrett, I didn't know much about her either, other than the on-screen character. Karen Jarrett has. I have a lot of respect for Karen. I have a lot of respect for Jeff Jarrett. Karen. I'm gonna be honest. Hates Dixie Carter. If you watch the My World, podcast after Dark Side of the Ring, she was very vocal about Dixie Carter. And she had to stop herself a couple of times because you can tell she was going to go down a rabbit hole and maybe not find herself coming out of it.
As now Eddie and Cedric stopping Eichner. Here, I'm going to pitch this nice, neat little bow out here.
Ricky Sosa.
He had time to put on a fucking polo golf shirt and everything. This man got completely attire. He just wrestled 10 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago.
And then Leon?
Shower, freshly shaved, freshly clean.
There goes Leon.
Oh, 6-man. You watch 6-man Myers, Cedric. Didn't we? Haven't we done this? I feel like we've done this. I can't believe you've done this.
Have we?
It's going to be Eichner, Sosa, and Leon versus the system.
We may have did this. It sounds a bit familiar. I wonder if they're doing something over the post. I wonder if they're going to do something with the system versus, the 3 of them and maybe 2 others in a lethal lockdown.
That's your
lockdown
teams?
Yeah, your lockdown teams. I can see that happening.
But as we go off the air, or we've got the end credits out here for TNA, let us know your ratings out of 10. I'll say this. Let's get ratings out the way. Everybody let us know your ratings out of 10. Then put our final bow, our thoughts and feelings, because that was a whole thing with Dark Side of the Ring too. Of TNA's been all up in the news, and that was definitely got to talk about that. And I want to know your like top 3 MVP is your top 3, like top 3 baby faces, top 3 heels, or whatever. Like how do you feel coming out of certain people out of Dark Side? That was
yeah. We can definitely get into that, but we'll do the ratings first. So 2 weeks in a row, Leon Slater and Ricky Sosa stand tall at the end of Impact. I like that. I'm at a 7.5. I really enjoyed tonight's match. I know, like in past streams, when we don't enjoy something, we either go on a tangent or we talk about how bad it is. I don't recall us doing any of that tonight, Nick. If you can let me
just talking about other things, but it was all TNA related. We were having to interject because of what was going on.
Related. Yeah, so I'm definitely at a 7.5 tonight. I really enjoyed this. It's been 3 weeks of pretty good TNA television. Last week, there were some moments that could have reworked. That Moose segment could have been shorter, but the match is still hit. Tonight, the match is still hit. I'm at a solid 7.5.
There you go. Well, Eric out there with a 7. Best babyface, Leon Slater. Well, I'm saying on the Dark Side. If we gotta, like I said, I think after having those 3 hours and that whole thing, and that was a lot of. If you watch TNA, you kind of can't miss that. If you watch pro wrestling, honestly, I would say don't miss that. That was eye-opening on different levels, on different avenues with a lot of stuff. And like I said, the missus doesn't really watch wrestling week in and week out. She listens to me from the bedroom while I scream at the computer screen. But she even wanted to sit there and watch through all the parts of Dark Side of the Ring for the TNA stuff and everything. Because even she had been watching wrestling a bit when that was still a relevant thing, when that was still in the public pop culture.
No, absolutely. But I guess before we get into our final thoughts about Dark Side of the Ring, we can click on some of the ratings comments here. I'll kick it off here. We got Ronan at a 7 out of 10. We got Eric at a 7 out of 10. Almighty giving the biggest one of the night 8. I was almost there at an 8 too, but I'm gonna stick with my solid 7.5. Ronan says Order 4 got a new member and the others aren't happy about it. That's correct. Sean says a solid 7 out of 10, better than Dynamite last night. I cut that off. Definitely cut Dynamite off. So yeah, definitely better than Dynamite. Ryan down here gave it a 5.5. Fair. I'm not definitely upset about that. Damien says 7 out of 7.5. Let me see. Down here, Garrett says that was an amazing TNA main event. It was a good main event. Absolutely. Paul gave it the lowest rating of the night, 4.5. Hey, that's fair. Whatever your opinion is, we don't criticize your opinion over here. Boston says 0 out of 10. The Hardys are tag champs.
You couldn't even give it a 1. You sat there and got me all worked up and couldn't even give it a goddamn 1.
Exactly. And then Bradley says, I didn't skip over you, Bradley. I was coming back. Welcome back, Anthony. We may give you mess sometime from time to time, but you're still a part of the family for life. Absolutely. But we went through. Oh, MDB says you skipped my rating. I didn't skip it. I just wasn't clicking on it.
Right. That thing was giving membership out there because, you had the week away and now you're back to stay. What was MDB's rating?
I don't even see MDB's rating, though, to be honest.
Why the fuck you lying? I got Dix E. Carter is the most I got for any sort of a rating out here, my guy. But no, so it seems overall a consensus of around between a 7 is the lowest for the most part. You have your outliers of a 4.5.
Yeah.
But between a 7 and an 8, I'm more of a, there are 4 out of 10 comments read, 10 out of 10 Austin Powers, 5 out of 10 TNA, 10 out of 10 Harley Cheekson.
So yeah, what is your
7 out of 10 with this? I know you're at a 7.5. I might be and then a nudge off a half a point off out here if I'm at a 7 with this. Good, but
I don't feel like
great.
that's bad. Yeah, I don't think that's bad. I mean, 5 points above below me. I don't think that's bad. And that was the consensus. It was 7.5. The highest was 8. So yeah, I definitely have no fault with a 7 there. I think for me it's just seeing TNA finally kind of rebound from the lows that they've had over the past couple of months. Tonight felt good. The last couple of weeks have felt really, really good. I do want to get back to your MVPs of Dark Side of the Ring, because one of them is going to be shocking. So really? MVPs for faces, obviously, Awesome Kong. Second would be Karen Jarrett. I don't want to put Jeff Jarrett on there because Jeff Jarrett is in a league of his own self, but the third would
kind
be
of the focal point. Like, it's
right? Yeah. So it kind of would be hard to put him there because he was the show. Third, surprisingly, is going to be Vince Russo. There was a lot of things Vince Russo said that I agreed with because he understood the formula of TNA. There was a lot of things, I definitely understood from him.
So you're saying he's the alcohol of TNA, the cause and solution to all of TNA's problems?
A little bit, in a way. I mean, Vince Russo tried his best to keep going after Jeff Jarrett was ousted out by Dixie Carter. But
he also played lapdog for Dixie for quite a bit.
He did for a little bit. But I mean, sticking to like the interviews that they gave, like the one-on-ones where they're talking to the camera, a lot of the things Vince Russo said, especially when Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff came in, I really agreed with. Vince Russo is still, that's the only praise you'll ever hear me give Vince Russo was from those little moments from the show. The heels, obviously Eric Bischoff. The moment I heard Eric Bischoff talk about that 6-sided ring, I was done. I was like, you have pissed me off. You literally said I knew nothing about TNA. Why come? Because of Hulk Hogan, right? I don't want to put Hulk Hogan on like the heel list because he obviously can't speak for himself. He's no longer with us. But obviously Dixie Carter. And lastly, if I have to put a third, and I just said I wasn't going to put his name up there because he couldn't speak for himself. Can't think of anybody else. So it has to be Hulk Hogan, I guess.
Hulk Hogan?
Yeah. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I just quickly like this from Boston that might have to be a new segment for the Bacon Club out there, the Fatback Hour of just heavy hitter meals out there. But no, for me, of obviously Karen Jarrett, really, I'll admit I was more uneducated about that whole situation than I probably should have been, and seeing her actually talk about everything, you really got with it. Like, she really opened up and wasn't afraid to kind of say what was real and what was going on. Right. I know Jeff Jarrett was kind of the focal point. He very much, I'm a bigger fan of Jeff Jarrett than I ever been.
Same.
Before, I was not a Jeff Jarrett guy going in. I always thought he was, the broke 1,000 guitars, never drew a dime, that whole thing. I didn't like that they didn't have him win the Owen, and because if you're going to bring it up and play so much in the Owen story, you should have had him fucking win the Owen, Tony. I'm still mad about it. Awesome Kong looked great with this. I have like a 3-part of guys that I really liked throughout the rest of this, like over the 3 parts. D'Lo was actually really honest. And I really like D'Lo.
Yes.
I love me some D'Lo, even when he was a performer.
And I don't mean to cut you off real quick. I don't mean to cut you off, but yeah, D'Lo took responsibility for sending Jeff Hardy out there, Victory Road 2011. And he took some responsibility for that. He was definitely honest. So yeah, you're definitely right.
Do you think that, and I'm going off tangent myself here as we've gone into the wee hours, but we've got all the dark sides to talk about. But but do you think that they brought up the whole Victory Road situation to do a kind of like comparable almost to Jeff's redemption and sobriety?
Yes.
I
Yes.
think that's really why I get why a lot of people
Yes.
didn't think that it made sense that they brought it up. But Jeff talking about Jeff getting sober, which is redundant to
Yeah.
say, was I think really a point they were trying to get across.
Yeah. No, I think that was the apparent reason why they brought it up, because uh you know, it didn't personally tie into Jeff Jarrett's story, but it tied into both Jeffs recovering from being at a low point. So I think it was definitely, it wasn't, did it need to be a part of the story? No, but I see why it was a part of the story, and I appreciate why, especially when I was listening to Jeff Jarrett's podcast, and the third host that they have on there, I can't remember his name. He was like, this was one of the best. Yes, Conrad. He was basically saying that most Dark Side of the Rings end on a sad note. Someone's has passed away. It's the widow of somebody talking, and he said this was one of those Dark Side of the Ring episodes where you got a happy ending, right? And you got that happy ending getting to talking about Victory Road and Jeff Hardy's situation, and getting to that happy ending of talking about Jeff Jarrett and his recovery from addiction.
Oh, absolutely. Like this was very much a redemption arc. How fitting, haha, AW. Right. With redemption for Jeff Jarrett. Dave Sahadi, I also again was not super familiar with, couldn't put a name to the face, seeing him talk about everything and being honest with stuff. And last thing I was going to say, for people that did themselves favors with this, Scott Steiner, of seeing that man break down and cry and everything, of was up there with like Brock Lesnar crying, of like, I don't know whether to be sad or terrified right now, because this is so abnormal behavior from you. No one expected this, but to see how much, and even like Russo had a great moment with that, but seeing how much Jeff's wife, like that was such a big part, and this was such a big part of Jeff's story too, not just the TV story.
Yeah, absolutely. All in all, if you haven't seen like the documentary, the 3 episodes, they're all on YouTube out there for free. Check them out. You won't be disappointed. It'll piss you off. It'll make you happy. If you didn't know a lot of the things about TNA, you will get a lot of the backstage knowledge. You will see who Dixie Carter potentially really is. And I only say potentially because she didn't tell her side of the story, but I do believe
but that's also an indictment of respect. If you've got an opportunity to defend yourself in the court of public opinion and you choose not to,
I was just about to get there. Exactly. It's a bold strategy, and then it paints it like everything they said was true. But yeah, go out and watch it. You won't be disappointed. It's some of the best Dark Side of the Ring episodes you'll see. And I've seen almost every episode. I haven't seen season 6 yet, but I've seen 1 through 5 and the start of season 7. So yeah, go out of your way and watch it. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah, and hashtag not sponsored or anything, by the way. Trust me, we got merch out there. If you want to sponsor us or support us, we're not sponsored by this good old Dark Side of the Ring and everything. We'll be like, you sit there, you did the whole reel and everything. I think you were kind of the forefront on that whole trend of, be out there waiting for the IWC documentaries to come out on Netflix and everything. I
was the start of that trend, and then I saw everybody else do it. Yes, I definitely was.
I saw you put out, and then I saw like 20 other content creators. All of a sudden, we got this documentary coming out, that documentary coming out.
Exactly.
Oh, really? But yes, we'll be out here. We'll be featured in the rise and fall of TNA 2.0 out here. But hashtag not sponsored by the Dark Sides. But we do have the merch store out there. We got the Twitters, the Discords, we got the Instagrams, we got everything else out there. I don't know if you want to try and click through any last kind of chat comments or anything, or if there's anything last that you really want to say with. If it feels like this weird like closing of the chapter a bit with TNA, because we've had the turbulent times of this person's out, that person's out. You're going through all of the, AMC debuts. You've got Dark Side going on. Like TNA has been very much thrust into the public spotlight lately.
Yeah.
But
I guess that'd be
like we're finally getting back to, all right, now we're going to Phoenix rise from the ashes here.
Yeah, I think that's where I can end it on. I do feel like now that it's been out there that you can kind of close that chapter of TNA. Even Jeff Jarrett has said it. Karen has hinted towards it, but Karen also wants to deep dive a little bit more because that's what Karen does. But it's definitely a closed chapter. Yeah. You got a lot from it. Definitely something I'll probably rewatch. I've already rewatched the second part, 2 times, just so I can get as much information that I missed down. But
I like now watching people that like Cornette, Dutch, etc., that were there, like give their feedback to everything that was said. So then you get like, it's like watching a DVD with like the director's cut behind it of like, well, no, that didn't actually
exactly. But I think for me, that's the last thing I have to say for Dark Side of the Ring. But I'm interested in some of the upcoming episodes. I'll briefly talk about that. I think next week, I don't know exactly what it was, but I saw Samoa Joe and I was instantly saying I'm watching next week's episode.
Somebody asked it. So Kyle out there saying, Nick, are there any other episodes of Dark Side of the Ring you're interested in this season? I was trying to find out the whole episode list, but the next one lined up is Necro Butcher versus Samoa Joe, which has even kind of the smart mark indie. Like I had the Backyard Wrestling PlayStation 2 game to where you could play as goddamn, Necro Butcher and like that, which is insane to say in context, but that's the match that I'm interested in because like a story I'm interested in because that was such like the old wives' tale of the lore, the mystique around like wrestling blogs and the independent scenes and tape traders and everything. And it was one of those, you don't know the full story behind it. So I'm interested to see it.
Yeah. And then like the last thing I'll touch on too, like my coworker, he's a big wrestling fan, but he's never watched an episode of Dark Side of the Ring, and he watched the season 7 premiere with the TNA stuff, and he was like, "Ooh, I need to go back and watch all the other seasons." He went out and purchased all the other seasons on Amazon Prime where you can buy all of them, and he was saying there was a lot of episodes that really interest him, and I told him the big episodes like Crispin Wall and all that, those will interest you. I said, but even the episodes of things you don't know, never heard of, wrestlers you never heard of, they will interest you as well, because there were a lot of stuff wrestlers that I didn't know and stories I didn't know, and I was very interested in a lot of those episodes of Dark Side of the Ring. So there's not a shortage of Dark Side of the Ring episodes out there that you may not be interested in.
Oh, I'm always a sucker for a documentary out here.
Vice sponsor us, because I've given y'all a whole glow up tonight.
Yeah, well, again, hashtag not sponsored and everything like that. We can be the live review reaction and everything, the breakdown to the debuts. We can be the Talking Dead on AMC.
Right.
Everything for TNA, for Dark Side of the Ring, all of that. But yes, hashtag not sponsored all the way around. We're back at it like a jackrabbit tomorrow for Friday Night SmackDown, if I can keep the rhyme going. But our shit is real, our shit is raw, our shit is all authentic when you talk about that wrestling. But about that for life with it.
See you tomorrow for SmackDown and Saturday Night Main Event on Saturday.